Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into round 7 of the 2021 RaceFactory Gaming MX Simulator National Championship live here on Start Your Systems. It is the Washougal MX Simulator National. What's up, everybody? Kellen Brower in booth here tonight, bringing you guys the action from a fantastic racetrack. This one is one of my favorite on the schedules. I love the scenery of the Pacific Northwest, and of course, this racetrack provides a lot of fun for a lot of the riders on the schedule. Big sky shot double in the back, of course, horsepower hill, and a lot of different sections of this track to make passes on, and we're going to show you guys a lap around this track courtesy of atom.com. But tonight it's actually Austin LeBeau taking you around the track, the atom.com Kawasaki rider, as Adam Holm passed off duties to him. But again, through that first left-hand corner into a right-handed U-turn and then up horsepower hill, you're going to float down into these rollers and try to get the power down. A lot of these guys will be hugging either side of the track to get as much power down as they possibly can. And then a new section at the very top of horsepower hill for the sim race this year. Not too often that they open up this section of the track at the very, very, very top of the hill, but they are going up there this round for some reason. Drop back down and then a little double into this left-hand U-turn at the bottom of the hill. Pretty tough corner to get on the brakes for and actually get efficiently through. Little right-hand kink at the top and then drop down. Big drop off into the center section through the S-turns here. You're going to see guys trying to get either forcing the issue to the outside or hard on the brakes to get to the inside. And then a left-right switchback brings you back down into the center of the circuit again, down by the first corner complex. Little right-hand 180-degree corner leads you back up towards the top, and this is a long run up the hill. First, you hit this little triple jump and then carry momentum as much speed as possible. Get on the brakes late, and then launch off this single jump out into the sand section, continuing to flow all the way up the hill through the trees, and then the big sky shot step up in the back. We're going to see guys laying it over a lot on that jump here tonight. Left-hand 180-degree sweeper leads you right back over the fire road at the top of the hill here, and then you carry momentum into this right-left chicane, which is a new addition to the track in the past couple of years because they're trying to get the speed slowed down in this back section. And then hard on the brakes into this little gully, a little kind of wall jump table brings you back down through this back section, deep in the trees at this point, but coming out of them into the final turn here before the finish line jump. It's a right-handed, a little more than a 90-degree corner, and then of course the famous whoops here at Washougal. Different options. Some guys will quad in, some guys will triple in. Eventually, you'll probably kind of just hit them like whoops by the end of it. But over the finish line, jump into a little left-hand sweeper and then a right-hand 90-degree corner, then this left-hand 180. Very tricky section through here because it's all about momentum. You're no longer on the hills anymore. It's a lot of flat ground stuff. Some kind of rollers and a table coming out of this corner as well. But it's really about just hitting your marks and making sure not to push the limits too much. As you see, LeBeau gets a little squirrely coming out of that corner. But over this table, this anthill single, and then he's going to tuck to the inside here over this little roller as well. Double, and then leads you back over towards the first turn complex. A little scrub table here and down past the mechanics area leads you back into the first corner. And that's a lap here tonight at Washougal. Well, again, we are very excited to have you guys joining us here tonight. I'm always just amazed at how many people are still watching these streams every time, but happy to have you guys with us. Of course, Kellen Brower in the booth bringing you guys the action here tonight. And some storylines developing in both championships, 450 and 250 class alike. Of course, we have to talk about Payson Johnson, again, coming off of suspension last week. He was not here. And Nathan Prynne did everything he could to not get the points lead in the first moto at Millville a week ago, but he did get it back in the second moto with a 4th place finish. So now he is your championship leader, and that has switched the dynamic in this 250 class. So let's jump in and take a look at some things. Of course, qualifying also already happened as well, so let's take a look at that first. And Leclerc goes fastest in the 450 class, 2/10 better than Tyler Lang, Adam Holm, Colby Eagle, and Chase Blakely all in the mix there as well. So it's pretty close to at the top of the timetables here. You can see first through fourth all just about in the same second, and then you have to go pretty far down to get out of the 27s even. We have Andonias Cura here tonight as well, the Frenchman. We haven't seen much of him this year, so that's going to be exciting to see some fresh faces in the mix. And then, of course, in the 250 class, no surprise to see Payson Johnson goes fastest by over a second, actually, on Logan Leitzel, Trevor Burns, Thomas Wilcox, and Cade Matherly. So where is Nathan Prynne? He's actually qualified 21st here tonight, so perhaps a bit behind the 8 ball here is Prynne. But as we go to these championship standings, of course, Leclerc, Lang still battling it out at the top, and it seems like it might be those two sprinting away a little bit from Eagland. Eagland's still right in the mix there on 239, but you can see, obviously, there is only 9 points between Lang and Leclerc, so it is going to be very, very close into the second half of this championship between those two. But here is the big switch from the last round. Nathan Prin takes over the championship lead from Payson Johnson. He is now ahead of Johnson by 5 points, and then you have to go back 37 points off of Prin is Luke Sullivan. But of course now Prin kind of can maybe say that he's back in the title hunt a little bit with Johnson's suspension last week causing him to miss all those points. Sullivan did a pretty good job there last week at Millville to gain a lot of points back, and now it seems like it's a brand new championship with 6 rounds to go. So there's a lot of different storylines to follow here in both the 450 and 250 classes here tonight, and we're going to jump back in the server and check things out. Good to see you guys all here tonight. Hopefully everybody's having a good time. Got, let's see, Brendan Kennedy, Fishing with Carson, Paulo Enrique, Prairie Pines, Megan Bradnick, Douglas Varcasia, Missile Gaming. We got Sacrificial, First Turn Films, KR Money, what is up? Jimmy, the no longer depressed 49ers fan. Little Jimmy, that is. Looks like the consolation race is currently out on track. I'm not sure if this one has already started or if this is just about to get started, but it is Seth Harnischfeger, Aaron McDonald, Dominic Saulnier, Jeremy Siebold, Alex Helms, Michael Mudge, Ethan Gerst, Christopher McPherson, Hayden Stevenson, Brandon Wolf, and Alistair Dickert in this one. And it does seem as though this is currently in action right now. So we're going to jump in and take a look at how things are going. Just double check that I'm not missing something. All right, little Jimmy is going to be at Washougal. Hey, me too. If you guys are going to be at Washougal this weekend, let me know. It was really tough to meet up with any of you guys that were at Millville. I was at Millville as well, but the service I can't speak tonight. Service at Millville is a bit spotty, so I unfortunately didn't get to meet some of you guys. I know some of you guys were there asking to meet up. But I just had no phone service on Friday or Saturday. But I will be there at Washougal this weekend, Friday and Saturday. So if you're there and around and want to just say hi or something, please feel free to tweet me, DM me on Instagram, something like that, and let me know. Always happy to meet up with you guys and bench race a little bit, you know? So out to the leader here, Seth Harnischfeger on the JNP 933. As the lead here coming to the end of lap number 1, Dominic Saulnier, Aaron McDonald, and Alex Helms bringing it down behind, and you can see all 4 riders there in the mix. Ethan Gerst bringing up the rear of that group, entering the whoops as Harnischfeger leads lap number 1. And shout out to Douglas Varcasia for the $5 donation. Says, "Ayo man, been seeing you mentioned on RacerX online moments of the race. Way to get your name out there." Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, I've been working for RacerX now for a year and a half, and still doing a lot of fun stuff over there. You guys may have caught our Day in the Life with Jeff Walker video that I did over the weekend at Millville. That was a lot of fun as well, and always trying to come up with new, inventive, fun projects to work on. Trying to kind of revamp the video side of RacerX a little bit as well. So appreciate that you guys tune in and watch those, as well as watch here on Start Your Systems. Always great to see you guys continue to have support for me even after all these years. Yes, Megan, I did go to Redbud. So Harnischfeger, Saulnier, Alex Helms, and Gerst now is the top 4 riders in transfer positions, but Gerst is not solidified in that position just yet. As Alex Helms, actually, no, we have a rider mixed in here who is not being selected. Aaron McDonald, it appears, is... I wonder if he realizes that he's perhaps missed some timing gates or something like that, or not sure what's going on here, but he currently is listed 11th, and usually that's a sign of someone going off the track too many times and missing some timing gates. It might be coming back on him a little bit here. Now it says he's 10th, 39 seconds down, but my cameras are still not quite picking him up. Okay, here we go. Now it's coming back. It does seem like maybe he was lagging out a little bit. So he's coming back. He's up to 5th, and it should bump him to 4th any second now. Yes, Gerst is still behind him. So Aaron McDonald glitched out there for a moment, but it does appear that he is now back and is still running in that 4th spot. Remember, only 4 riders go through out of this consolation race. So McDonald, if he saw his pit board fluctuating there, might have been a little bit scared for a moment. Meanwhile, battle for the lead is materializing. Dominic Saulnier trying to get up the inside of Seth Harnischweger. And near contact coming into the last turn, and Saulnier lays it down. Is that going to cost him a transfer spot? Here comes Gerst alongside as they're all hopping through the whoops. Alex Helms, Aaron McDonald, everybody getting a little sideways. Gerst, did he just loop out? Yes, he did, right before that finish line jump. So Gerst looks like he may have almost had that pass done, then looped out, and Brandon Wolf going to close down now. It's still Christopher McPherson back here, Hayden Stevenson, Michael Mudge, Alistair Dickert, Jeremy Siebold has called it a moto. So it seems like only 10 riders remain. And it's Harnischweger still leading this one. Harnischweger there from Saulnier, Helms. And a little further back now is Gerst as he has gotten around Aaron McDonald. So McDonald went down. Looks like he may have gone down twice, actually. He is now behind McPherson. Brandon Wolf went through, so Wolf might be the lone remaining rider that could challenge Ethan Gerst for this final transfer spot. Gerst trying to land, get that power down all the way up the lengthy horsepower hill. It's funny, I had somebody, because I hiked up Mount Martin a few times this past weekend in Millville, and somebody requested that I compare Mount Martin and Horsepower Hill, which I will go to this weekend, of course. And if memory serves me right, I know Horsepower Hill is long, but steepness, I don't think it's actually steeper than Mount Martin. But I'm looking forward to comparing this weekend. I'll get the old walking boots out and do a long walk up the hill to make sure. Back to this battle, though. Harnischweger still leads, but you can see Saulnier on the 112 there and Helms right behind. So our 3 riders out front have been nose to tail for the better part of the last couple laps here. And Gerst still lurking in the background. Harnischweger short on the triple, and that is going to be Saulnier's opportunity as he lays it over big time on the floater single into the sand. Now Alex Helms on that 492 trying to get into the picture as well. Harnischweger scrubs at the top of the hill to stay a little bit lower, but Helms going to get down the inside. Who's going to come out of this corner better? Harnischweger still just got a nose, but Helms trying to push the envelope to the outside, turns to the inside, and a nice move there for Alex Helms. So Saulnier to the lead, Helms in a second, Harnischweger back to 3rd. And it's now 5 seconds between Gerst and Brandon Wolf, excuse me. So Gerst coming in to this final corner still in 4th, and you can see our front 4 leaders going through the whoops here. Saulnier from Helms, Harnischweger, and Gerst as the white flag waves at Washougal. Oh, Gerst getting kicked out a little bit coming into the corner. And Harnischweger's maybe got to be a little bit careful here. Gerst does lay it down. Brandon Wolf and Christopher McPherson are still lurking back here, but I guess Harnischweger in this case just really needs to put it on 2 wheels the rest of this lap and make sure that there's nothing funny about this last one. Good question, KR. Never been Ironman. I would love to go at some point. I'd actually love to race Ironman GNCC one day. That'd be kind of fun. But having only ever been to Unadilla, is comparing Screw You at Unadilla versus the Godzilla at Ironman, I would not be able to give you an accurate answer. But Screw You is definitely very tall. You stand at the bottom of Screw You, and it's like looking up towards a building, pretty much. Oh, down is Saulnier at the top of Horsepower Hills. So through goes Gerst, and I can hear coming into the frame right there. There he goes. That is going to be Brandon Wolf moving into the final transfer spot. So it changes the complexion of this consolation race just like that. One mistake for Saulnier, who had momentarily taken the lead. Now he's got to fight back and try to get into this moto, but now he is down again, and McPherson goes by. So suddenly, with half a lap still to go, Dominic Saulnier goes from leading to outside looking in. Gonna try to get back around McPherson first if he can. But it seems like too little too late perhaps. Brandon Wolf is starting to sneak forwards. Oh, and there goes Saulnier around McPherson. So McPherson went down. And this comes down to Brandon Wolf basically just riding a smart, smooth last few turns here. 4-second gap. Oh, rider down. That is Gerst. So now Gerst getting up from a crash. And, oh, Aaron McDonald coming through. So Saulnier has thrown it away even more. Meanwhile, out front, final turn. We have not seen him in the lead until this second. But Alex Helms on his Pro Line Designs, number 492, is going to carry it through the whoop section one more time. And Alex Helms wins the consolation race here at Washougal. Harnisch-Veger, bouncing through, getting a little wayward. Actually going to, no, he just holds on by 8/1000ths of a second over Brandon Wolf, and Gerst also comes through. Aaron McDonald outside looking in 5th. McPherson will cross the line 6th. Then it was Saulnier who drifted back to 7th, so a disaster last lap for him. Michael Mudgeon 8th, and Alistair Dickert is going to be the last rider coming through here in P9 on that Concept Clothing Yamaha. So we'll wait for him to come across, see what you guys are talking about here in chat for a minute. I don't believe I did see some of the 85cc class at Redbud on Amateur Day on Friday. Yeah, some of the guys that were going through. I was kind of standing by Larocco's Leap when that was going on, I believe. But I didn't, honestly, I wasn't watching it too closely. I was trying to get some work done. Usually we're running around pretty good on Friday here at RacerX, doing some rendezvous with riders and trying to get some stuff set up. But that's cool if you race that. HKY Dane, when you race pro, did you ever have that red plate? If you're talking in sim, I did have the red plate a couple times, never in a RaceFactory Gaming Championship, though. I only ever won one moto in the RaceFactory Gaming competitions, so it's pretty unlikely I would have ever had the red plate. But, you know, I did win an Enduro series, so I got to wear the red plate there. I won a 2-stroke championship, so I got to wear the red plate there. Just never quite did it in the RaceFactory stuff. All right, Dickert over the line. Take a look at cuts just to make sure. And we are good to go. Alex Helms makes it in from Harnisch-Veger, Wolf, and Gerst. Alrighty. 250 Moto 1 coming up next here from Washougal. Good to see you guys all, of course. Cara Money, Jose Maria Gonzalez, Alex Blacksher, Chad Paulson, HKY Dane, Fishing with Carson still here. Meta Lancer 2004. Kimmy's is here as well. My dude, gonna try to shred it in the SX4 tournament coming up this weekend, actually. I think that is, right? So good luck there. Jonas Comfort, Megan Bradnick, all of you guys there. Where was I at Redbud? I was at Redbud Friday and Saturday all day. I pretty much walked almost all the way around the track a couple times. I did spotting for TV during qualifying, so I was up in the announcer's tower for qualifying. And I was in the pits most of the motos and stuff like that, but I was kind of just walking around. Like I said, if you guys come to the races and you're interested in meeting up and hanging out a little bit, go for it, you know. Tweet me on Twitter, message me on Instagram DMs or what have you, and happy to hang out. Nice, Alex. Finishing second in the Friday's amateur races. Nicely done. That's sick, dude. Don't worry, Mike Honcho. I'll show more on board. Maybe I'll get, actually, I don't normally do these in the main motos, but maybe on this consolation race start for the 450 class, I'll do an onboard start. See what's going on. Dalit Gamer says, hi, I just bought MX Simulator. Have any tips? I do have tips. If you go to startyoursystems.com and head over to our video series on MX Simulator tutorial videos, we've got like 25 videos, I think, that we did that just highlights a number of things from cornering techniques, ruts, braking bumps, scrubbing, hitting the whoops, setups in Supercross, setups in Motocross, a number of things. So definitely recommend just going to check those out and yeah, try that. All right, here we go. We're going to start this consolation race on board with Jack Haley. You guys get a good indication what it's like from his perspective on a two-stroke. As the gate is down, he actually gets a pretty good jump, but he's going to get out-dragged. Dylan Copeland up the inside. Is that Brett Thomas, I think, around the outside? So Haley's going to come out there in fourth. That's Zach Fisher just ahead of him. Haley off the side of the track. Back on, another two-stroke. And then up Horsepower Hill the first time. Scrub at the top, so he moves back into fourth, and going through there on the outside, Chandler blocks him trying to get into the mix. Oh, contact, and Haley gets together with blocks and he goes down, and then he gets piled over by Emmett Sund, and Jack Fowler also going around with Cale Braden, Joe Wagner. So Isaiah Dickerson is the other two-stroke rider in this one. It was Zach Fisher, Dylan Copeland, and indeed it is Brett Thomas now leading this one on his underground RC Kawasaki, the 221 machine. Copeland now settles in behind him into second. Got Zach Fisher coming down the hill in third, and Dickerson back here in fourth. Then next through it will be Emmett Sund on his stool bend machine there in fifth. Cale Braden sixth. Jack Haley back to seventh. Jack Fowler side by side with Chandler blocks him for eighth, and rounding out the top 10 is Joe Wagner. That is all the riders that have started this one. They're going 4 laps, and the top 4 riders are going to transfer through into the main motos. Blocks him laying it over the top of the hill. Actually, this is tightened up a lot. Zach Fisher is now suddenly in this group. Cale Braden crossing over in front of Zach Fisher. And, oh, it's getting dicey. And that's Brett Thomas as well. So we've got a change at the front. Copeland leads from Isaiah Dickerson, Emmett Sund, and then Brett Thomas is now back into the final transfer spot. That was crazy. There's Dickerson down in the wave section, and here comes a whole host of riders as down goes Emmett Sund before the finish line jump. So Thomas goes by. There goes Haley, Cale Braden, Zach Fisher, and Chandler blocks him with Jack Fowler then crossing through. So now Joe Wagner remains as the rider in last in this one. We'll go back up ahead and see who else we might be able to jump on board and catch some good battles with. Copeland still leads from Dickerson, though, so Dickerson, despite his mistakes, still remains there in second. Brett Thomas there in third, and Jack Haley there in fourth. Got Cale Braden, Zach Fisher. Let's go on board with Fisher. He's got a pretty good line of sight ahead of him to everybody up the road. Hey, shout out Agri6na again. Thank you so much every time, dude. You literally just come by, just drop off donations, and then don't say much beyond that. But I appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you being here every time and hanging out, having a good time. But he asked, did you see the Hurlings and Monticelli crash? Yes, I did. I actually really did want to make a video on Racer X kind of highlighting both sides of the story, because obviously Monticelli felt like he was jumping to a spot on the track that was pretty normal for the first lap. He did go a little bit long, perhaps, but Hurlings also had the whole shot device still stuck down, so that obviously impeded him from jumping as far as maybe he wanted to. So I kind of chalked it more up to a racing incident. I think you have to put more fault on Monticelli more than anybody, because, I mean, anybody that lands on somebody else is usually more at fault than the person they got landed on. But still, Hurlings didn't jump as far, definitely got slowed down from the whole shot device. So all those things factored into Monticelli not expecting Hurlings to go as short as he did. And unfortunately, broken shoulder blade for Hurlings, dude. That sucks. And yeah, I was hopeful that he wasn't going to miss too many Grand Prix, but apparently it's cracked all the way through. So that's one of those that's going to take a while to get healed fully. And animal to still win the first moto because that happened on the first lap of the race, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So Fisher was able to move up into 5th, as I think Cale Braden hit the deck, but Jack Haley still holds on to 4th here. And he is kind of getting away a little bit as he tries to close up on, is this Brett Thomas? I think on the 221, it does appear to be so. You can see these guys hopping through the roller section. Haley's still even trying to quad out there. And then just carrying speed all the way through these couple of corners. Yeah, that is Brett Thomas there. Yeah, Hurlings did break a bony, broken shoulder blade, so. Jack Haley is getting the pressure here to Brett Thomas for P3 on the racetrack. Megan Bradnick says, how do you enter these races? Head over to RaceFactoryGaming.com and get yourself signed up over there. You're going to need to probably race some amateur races, maybe some novice races to start. And eventually, if you work your way through the ranks, you'll be able to earn an A license, which allows you to qualify for the 250 class here that we race on Wednesday nights. And if you earn a pro license, then you can race the 450 class like Jack Haley is doing here as well. So Haley makes the move up into 3rd, gets around Brett Thomas. Still Dylan Copeland leading from Isaiah Dickerson, and now Brett Thomas slides out at the top of the hill, but the top 4 have a gigantic lead. So we're just waiting for things to wrap up here in the consolation race. Still got a lap and a half to go. Brett Thomas occupies P4. Emmett Sund back here. He is in 5th, sliding it down a little bit there, though. Here comes Cale Braden. So these two riders are currently sitting outside of transfer positions into the motos. But never give up, as they say, the old adage. Push it till the end, and hopefully, perhaps at least, riders ahead of you might make mistakes, but it does seem like at least our front 3 is pretty solid, and now these riders back here get together and go down, and Emmett Sund, I believe, just disconnected. Yeah, Emmett Sund crashing in 5th place has disconnected. So Cale Braden gets up. He is still there in 5th now. Then Emmett Sund out of the race now in 6th. Zach Fisher launching to flat. He is well out of this one. Jack Fowler, Chandler Bloxham, and Joe Wagner also have called it quits. So really the only rider that kind of remains somewhat close is Cale Braden, but you could argue it's not close anymore. Brett Thomas has got a pretty sizable advantage on him. Copeland from Haley, Dickerson, and Thomas, they're all about 10 seconds apart. Then 24 seconds back of Brett Thomas is Cale Braden right now. So at this point, pretty much just down to the formalities at this point. Got to finish the final lap of the race. Make sure none of these guys have any issues. So let's go on board with Isaiah Dickerson and just check out the action here from a 2-stroke. Ooh, Dickerson down. Doesn't really matter though. Looks like we got a battle for the win heating up. Copeland has been caught by Jack Haley. And this could get a little interesting before the checkered flag waves here in the consolation race. Look at this, up the inside Haley goes. Trying to get a nose in there. Not quite just yet. He's going to try to go up the inside. They're going to pull up nearly side by side through the rollers one last time. Copeland's starting to stretch it out a tiny bit. Haley to the flag. 3/10 down. Copeland takes the win in the consolation race. Brett Thomas, wow, he goes down before the finish line jump. And Dickerson, did he save that? No, of course he did not. That was way too sideways. And now Cale Braden also hitting the deck as well. And Dickerson and Thomas, now they finished 3/10 apart from each other, 20 seconds off the lead as we wait for Cale Braden and then Zach Fisher to come through. All right, let's see what else we got going on. What other questions in chat? The Reed34 says, any information on the Baggett situation? So the thing about the Blake Baggett situation, right, is that we've asked at RaceRex, we've asked the people that would know about this situation, and you just get no comment. Blake Baggett has not replied or responded to anybody in a while. Like, he doesn't respond to calls, text messages, anything like that from people that are trying to get the story out of him. So is there a bigger story at large? Yes, potentially, but it's pretty impossible to get real information on it at the moment, and I think that a lot of it has to do with maybe some, NDAs or whatever being signed in contracts and whatever. But I'm sure there will be a story that comes out eventually. It's just no one's talking, so that's why we don't have anything up to date on the Baggett situation. T-Mac, do they really plan on using that hill again after Horsepower Hill? I have no idea. I know they did use it before, obviously. I don't know why they included it in the sim version. But, yeah, I mean, I guess. Maybe they are doing it this weekend. Well, it'd be interesting to see. Yes, Megan Bradnick, this game is PC only. NCK Decals says, when you race pro, did you ever have any certain routine before the motos? I had quirks, I guess. I wouldn't call them routines. Take a look at cuts and make sure everything's good there. Yep. Copeland makes it in with Haley and Thomas and Dickerson. But, so on the parade lap, for example, I would ride around for like 30 seconds on the parade lap and then sit on the side of the track because I didn't want to be on the throttle and I didn't want to be standing and not sitting and all these things, because when the game restarts, if you're on the throttle, sometimes the throttle would stick and you'd hit the gate, maybe get a 15-second penalty. So there were things like that I would do. Oddly enough, I didn't practice that much during race nights. Like, I didn't not watch a race and instead try to put laps on the track. Like, I tried to keep my best moments and my feel and flow for the track in race mode. So did things like that, but no, I didn't really have any like routines or anything. Let's see. I don't think they have changed Washougal. It's just that hill at the top of Horsepower Hill that may or may not be added this year. I'm gonna guess it's not, but we'll see. Thoughts on Triumph coming to Motocross? It's great, honestly. Beta already seems like they are trying to get into Supercross and Motocross for 2022. They've already signed up with Carlin Gardner and the BWR team a little bit to... Carlin Gardner is going to be like a team manager / rider for Beta next year, and they're trying to break in with the homologation limits to race Supercross next year. So that's already an 8th manufacturer if you include Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, KTM, Husqvarna, and GasGas, plus Beta for next year. And now Triumph is coming in as well, saying they're going to have this whole launch of a new motocross line and with the hopes of creating a motocross factory team and stuff like that. Honestly, I think all that stuff is great for the sport. We had a massive boom in the motocross industry last year with bike sales, and gear companies just can't keep gear in stock because so many people are riding and racing again, which is fantastic. And I just hope for, you know, obviously the paddock that races, that just means more factory rides, more paid rides as well, more riders getting paid what they actually should be paid. You know, you get borderline guys like Freddie Norn, for example. He is on his own deal, own budget this year, and you could argue he should be a factory rider. He went 13-12 this weekend. Like, that's still pretty good, and he has been a factory rider in the past, but he's not now. So you get a company like Beta and a company like Triumph to put factory efforts out there, and maybe more, you know, satellite supported teams out there as well can also, you know, join in with their program. And I just think it creates more of a thriving industry personally. So I'm happy to see it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to the Baggett situation than quit because he wouldn't get paid on time. But yeah. Meet and greet for A1, trying to organize a thing. I mean, yeah, that would be kind of cool, actually. I didn't think about that, but that would be pretty neat to do some sort of maybe like Friday night or something like that, get together, or maybe Saturday morning, whatever. But yeah. My favorite thing about being on SYS is probably, yeah, owning it, like Chase Williams says. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Myself, Jeremy Hinner started it back in December of 2014, and it's taken off. And you know, I try not to count numbers, but I you know, I look at our sub count now and see how close we are to 100K, and like it's one of those numbers that's like, it seemed immortal basically when Jeremy and I started. So I think maybe my favorite part about it, honestly, is being able to connect with you guys and like seeing the overwhelming support that people have for some of the videos that we do, the series that we're a part of, and things like that. And you know, I come up to people at the races, and you guys are like genuinely excited to meet me. Like, stuff like that is still, like, that blows my mind. Like, I'm just this guy that likes video games, likes dirt bikes, and likes talking about them, and the fact that you guys are people that enjoy that stuff is, yeah, it's just such a blessing, really. So I think that's my favorite part, is being able to connect with you fans of the sport, you fans of the gaming side of it, and be able to play games and experience it all with you guys. All right, let's get things set up here. Let's make sure I have all this correct. All right. Meanwhile, here is your new championship leader, Nathan Prynn, on the Phil's KTM. They're also running a special graphics set this weekend that looks, you know, pretty similar to what the TLD guys used to do, with that kind of Adidas blue rear shroud and fender look. I like it. I mean, you know, it's cool. It sticks out. It's poignant. I think it would be perfect. The setup would be perfect if that gear was blue into orange instead of blue into pink. It would just kind of match the whole get up a little bit better, but I still dig it. All right, here we go. 250 Moto 2 coming up here at the MX Simulator Washougal National. This is going to be a good one to see how Payson Johnson fights back. All right, let's make sure we get this on the money. Who are we going to watch on the start as well is a good question. Peek up the inside maybe and pick somebody up here a little bit. Actually, let's just go ahead and find Payson Johnson and watch him on the start. So the defending champion for the first time this year does not have the red plates on his bike. Will that affect him, or can he fight back here at Washougal? It's 250 Moto 1 live on Start Your Systems. Wow, and it looks like the 42 of Prynn got a huge jump, and he's going to lead him into the first turn. Contact with his new teammate Wilcox, but Nathan Prynn picks up the Studio 8 whole shot. Leads him up Horsepower Hill on the first lap. It's going to be Prynn leading the way from Seth Shirley right in tow. You also have Wilcox. He's got a good start, and Johnson moving into third at the top of Horsepower Hill. So this is going to set up to be a good one, as Seth Shirley splits our two championship rivals. Might actually take the lead as he goes up the inside of Prin, scrubbing down the hill off the top, and into the race lead, Seth Shirley goes. That's a bit of a shock as Prin, a couple mistakes, allows Shirley through. Johnson lurking there as well. You can see just off of the back of that, you also have Wilcox, new rider to the Phil's KTM program this week. And a mistake there for Prin. Round the outside goes Wilcox, and he gets into Johnson and goes down. Johnson moves to second. Prin up to third. Rogan McIntosh on the 89. He's right there as well. You got Luke Sullivan on the 18. He's got a good start. So this is putting all three of our championship contenders inside of the top 5 here. And already Prin and Payson Johnson set to do battle here for second as Seth Shirley tries to get away out front. Up to the sky double, first lap. Everybody laying it over. And we're going to see whose line works out the best. Actually, pretty much everybody going for that second rut. And this has got to be a bit of a interesting sign for Payson Johnson. He's got a fresh face in front of him. Seth Shirley. Also, Johnson has a fresh front fender ahead of him as well. Of course, we've seen him on the Covenant Honda team all through the first 6 rounds of GPs and outdoors. Made his debut with his Underground RC Kawasaki team at the GP on Monday, but leading him down to complete lap number 1, it's the 441 atom.com Cowie of Seth Shirley. Payson Johnson right behind him on that number 1 Underground RC Kawasaki, and the 42 points leader Nathan Prin right in there as well. What's going to happen first? Johnson, is he going to get the lead from Shirley? Is Prin going to get up there and mix things up as well? Johnson outside in into this corner. Going to try to get a nose in there. And he's got it. Johnson to the lead here at Washougal. And Shirley's already trying to fight back. Trying to get a better line into this corner. Turns into the inside. Now he's nearly pulled up alongside Johnson. And Shirley was not shy in his fight with Prin. He did not care what the name on the back was or what the color of the plates were. He wanted the race lead. He got it from him. Now Payson Johnson has got it away from Shirley, and Prin trying to get around Shirley as well to maybe go with Johnson, not let the number 1 machine get too far away. Right side versus left side. Prin working that left side up horsepower hill, going to try to pull alongside. Shirley whips it at the top. Prin's got the drive down the inside up to the top of the hill. Can he get a nose in there? No, Shirley launches to the top and holds on for second. So Johnson leads, Shirley right here on screen in second. Prin jumping down the hill behind him in third. Look at that, Prin inside line, not quite able to get there just yet. You can see Luke Sullivan lurking as well. So we might end up with all 3 of our championship contenders, 1, 2, 3 in this moto. As Seth Shirley, he is trying to hold these guys at bay, but the pressure is definitely coming from behind. You can see Prin putting a nose in here and there as Johnson continues to sprint away. So this is not the ideal situation for Prin or Sullivan, those Phil's KTM teammates. Here comes Sullivan up onto Prin for third. Quick shout out to Tice Kelly in chat, $4.99 donation. I very much appreciate that. Always love when you guys are active in the chat, and the donations are very welcomed as well. As we continue to keep eyes on this battle for third place in the early runnings, Shirley just starting to nose away a little bit from Prin, but then Prin gets that corner silky smooth. Might even have an inside line here. Not quite just yet. Backs out of the challenge, and Shirley stays ahead, but most certainly you can see Johnson starting to sprint away a little bit at the front. Prin going to try to sneak up the inside as Johnson goes through the rollers. Prin off the side of the track. Got to watch out for that tough block. Here comes Sullivan alongside. Is he going to get this move down the inside? No, backs out of the challenge. So Shirley, Prin, and Sullivan, 2, 3, 4 on the track. Running in order as you can see them on our screen here. Sullivan still trying to fight up the inside of Prin. You can see the options are aplenty in this lower section of the racetrack. Riders going inside out, outside in. Tuck into the inside in both corners, going to the outside in both corners, trying different options. As the track slowly develops, if you're new to the RaceFactory Gaming National Championship here on Start Your Systems, MX Simulator has a system in the game that we all like to call the erode system. It's basically track deformation, like you would see in basically any motocross game on console of late. But it actually does impact the track and the way that the ruts and everything shapes up. So you can see these guys, the way they're hitting some of the bumps and everything, how they lay into the ruts in the corners. Some of these ruts throughout the moto are going to get deeper. Prin kind of blowing the middle section of the rut there and allows Sullivan to close up. But you're going to see these ruts develop, get deeper. The braking bumps will get taller, steeper, harder to navigate. So that's why you'll see riders, not even in this early stage, but throughout the moto really, starting to just lurk out of the main line a little bit, try something different, see what works, see what doesn't. Prin's still going inside here, inside to second rut. Shirley goes far outside to far outside. So even as close as Prin still is here, Seth Shirley, that is not that wary of leaving the door wide open in the switchbacks, because he does it twice in a row and still maintains the position. But Prin seems like he has his spots picked out where he gets close. He was really good through the trees here last time by, and he does seem like he's a fair bit closer to Shirley than he was as well. So let's see if he can make something work up the inside through this back section. And then Sullivan even, he's carrying a lot of momentum around the outside. Prin lands off the track, but then look at the speed he carries through here. Outside to in, coming down the hill, trying to get a nose on Shirley. He will get to the inside and completes that pass for second place. So Prin finally breaks through on Seth Shirley. And there goes Prin into second. You can see the gap up to Johnson. Sullivan trying to work on Seth Shirley there for third. Shirley trying to actually fight back on Prin, and coming up from behind them is actually Logan Leitzel on the number 13 Phil's KTM. So we've got 3 Phil's KTMs out front, split up with an atom.com Cowie here of Seth Shirley, and the Underground RC, Kawasaki there of Payson Johnson, the defending champion on his number 1 machine. So 7.5 minutes in, and Johnson cross ruts on landing and goes down. That will relinquish the race lead, as here comes Nathan Prin. He will take it over. Second place will be Shirley. Third now goes to Sullivan, and is Leitzel going to get there in time? It does not appear to be so. So Prin gets to the race lead, and that was the mistake that Johnson could not afford to make in the early runnings of this one, to allow Prin back to the front. Meanwhile, Seth Shirley dealing with the attack. Here comes Luke Sullivan up the left side of Horsepower Hill. Not going to be able to get there just yet. And now Johnson settles in behind these guys with Logan Leitzel. So our front 5 are still basically nose to tail. Definitely want to get some eyes on some other battles throughout the field, but this one has been a good one at the front through 8.5 minutes. Jumping down the hill, Shirley. And Luke Sullivan, a mistake for Shirley. That's going to be the door open for Sullivan and the door open for Payson Johnson. Johnson goes through. Here comes Leitzel. He's trying to find a way through on Shirley. Johnson now closes right up to the back door of Sullivan. Which lines are going to work out? Couple inside, outside, inside. And it does seem like Leitzel may have got the pass done on Shirley. Yes, he did. And he pirouettes in transition. So maybe another cross rut. And a couple mistakes there pushes him back to 5th. So it is Phil's KTM 1, 2, and 3 as Nathan Prin, the rider out of France, on the number 42 machine, leads here at Washougal. His teammate Luke Sullivan on that number 18 machine sits in second. And making up the Phil's trio out front is Logan Leitzel in third on his number 13 machine. And Seth Shirley drops back to 4th, and you have Johnson coming down the hill in 5th. Chris Post with a great start. He is in 6th, and he has actually kept these guys very close through the early stages of this one. Chris Post and his good buddy Nick Tomasunas both had some good races at the Grand Prix on Monday, and it seems like for Post at least, it is materializing into a good one here at Washougal, running 6th and keeping the race leaders honest through the first nearly 10 minutes of this one. Mistake there. Looks like Sullivan has actually given up second place. Logan Leitzel has gone through. So the 13 machine finds his way up into second place. And Sullivan going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit here. Trying to go up the inside. That's not going to work. So he switches back to follow the line that Leitzel takes around the outside here. They both kind of scrub it up the hill a little bit here, and then Leitzel kind of hopping back and forth through the lines. Now elects to go outside, turns to the in. That is where Johnson went down a lap ago. And then Sullivan launching the table behind down past the mechanics area. So a third of the race is done. And 2/3 left to go. Seth Shirley dealing with the pressure from the number 1 of Payson Johnson. And Johnson a little slide out. And so let's see. This is going to be Shirley getting a better drive up Horsepower Hill, I think. Although Johnson recovered nicely. You can still see Chris Post on the 319 there in the back. And Johnson just working on Seth Shirley, who has done a really good job of reacting to all this pressure. These are some heavy hitters at the front of the field, and Shirley seems unthwarted from the attack. Obviously hasn't been able to stay ahead of the riders, but he has been sticking right with them, and Johnson now goes through. So Johnson up to 4th, Shirley back to P5, and it's still Chris Post right back there in 6th, entering the switchbacks. Although he just went down, it just looks like he slid out. So remount still in 6th. Then it is Thomas Wilcox there in 7th. Alex Kerr comes down the hill in P8. Charles Gable right behind him in 9th. And Rogan McIntosh rounds out our top 10 in the early runnings. So it does seem like the attention and the focus on those lead battles is a good one, as Luke Sullivan is down in an awkward spot at the top of the hill. So Johnson goes by. There goes Seth Shirley. Here comes Chris Post, as Sullivan going to stay just ahead of the 319, so he still is in 5th. But that was a odd spot to go down. You don't normally see people going off the track there in the back like that. But Sullivan stays ahead, still in 5th. Actually, we got a battle for the lead brewing. Logan Leitzel has caught up to Nathan Prynn. Lap time check, 2:31.4 to a 2:33.7. So Prynn not able to match the 31.4 out of Leitzel, 31.7 out of Johnson, 32.6 last time by, obviously up to 3rd. But how about Logan Leitzel? He wants to try to win this thing. He doesn't care about Nathan Prynn, his teammate, battling for this championship. Wants to try to get into this race lead and pull away, because he feels, and rightfully so, that he might have the pace to win this one. Getting a good indication in the upper right-hand corner of our screen there where everybody is on the racetrack as well. It does seem like there's a good, perhaps a midfield battle brewing, but only 1.2 seconds in it for the battle for the lead. I'd hate to switch away from this one and miss a change with Logan Leitzel chunking away this much time on Nathan Prynn. Riders tucking to the inside. Prynn scrubbing down the hill nicely there, staying a pretty stagnated gap. And then you can see how challenging it is to try to ride the edges of the track and miss the larger set of braking bumps coming into corners. Leitzel flirting with the edge of the racetrack all the way through. Now it drops down into the switchbacks here. Inside to 2nd rut, and it seems like a little bit of lagging coming out of that corner there for Prynn. Now under a second. So Prynn leads, Leitzel here in 2nd. We're on board with him. And the gap continues to close down a little bit, slowly but surely. So is this a situation then when Leitzel perhaps just gets to Prynn and tries to push him? Or does he go for the lead and try to get Prynn to latch onto him so they can stretch it out from Johnson in 3rd? Man, nothing in it though, and Leitzel flowing so well through every single corner, it seems. Does seem like he might be pushing the envelope a little bit, but look at this, gonna try the inside here. Prynn quads in so he can triple his way through the rest. Leitzel a little offset there, 2:31.6 to a 2:32 flat. So 0.4 gain for Leitzel that time by, but you can see that Prynn's lap time was upticked a little bit as he responded to this pressure from Logan Leitzel. Johnson, let's get a lap time check for him, 2:32.1, so he is also matching the front runner's pace, a 35.6 out of Shirley and a 33.5 out of Sullivan. So it seems like our front three might be stretching it out just a little bit, as Leitzel has now lost a little bit of ground there to Prynn. Prin and Leitzel now almost nose to tail. Up horsepower hill we go. Who's going to get the better drive? It looks like Prin might have had to clutch there a little bit. He got a front end high, and that has allowed Leitzel to close up just a tiny bit more. Pushes to the outside, does the 13 machine, just trying to carry that speed all the way the long way around. And Prin scrubs very neatly off the top there. A little mistake there for Prin. Leitzel's going to have a good drive. Not quite able to get a nose in there just yet. Prin shuts the door, now coming off the hill again into the switchbacks. Prin goes defensive, hard defense on the inside. Turns to the inside here, outside to far inside for Leitzel. Might be up the inside in the next corner, nearly side by side down here. And Leitzel trying to go to the lead, pulls up alongside. Prin fights back and holds onto the lead for the time being. Now what does Leitzel have? He's trying to low line the single into the back, but can't quite get it done just yet. Up to the top of the hill, Prin lays it over. Dooley's at the top. Outside line, look at the speed carried for Leitzel. Prin's gonna land off track. He's gonna try to swoop back in and hold it. And just narrowly edges out. I wonder if that is almost on purpose at this point for Prin, jumping off so he can apex that corner a little bit better. Sometimes these guys are just a little sneaky. Maybe they looked at where the timing gates are laid out and know they will not miss one in that situation. I'm not 100% sure that that's the situation or not. Now Prin, big kick sideways. Nice job to save it, but that's going to allow Leitzel to pull up alongside, and that's going to allow Leitzel to take over the lead here at Washougal. So I don't care who you are. That is weird to see when championship leaders are involved. Teammates usually are a little bit more kind of the push situation here, so maybe that is still on the docket. Leitzel doesn't quite want to mess with Prin, but in this heated championship battle that Prin and Payson Johnson are in, always a bit interesting to see a teammate take the lead away, but Leitzel clearly has this pace and is starting to gap already from Prin. So it's Leitzel to the lead from Nathan Prin. Payson Johnson settles back into third. And now that we have a little bit of break in the action, let's give you guys a top 20 rundown brought to you by atom.com. Adam Holm on board at the broadcast this year. Check out his music line and his merch over at atom.com. We appreciate him helping out with us this year. Logan Leitzel leads here on lap number 8, 18 and a half minutes into 250 Moto 1 at Washougal. The number 13, Phil Ski and Snowboard KTM out front. Number 42, your points leader on that Phil Ski and Snowboard KTM is Nathan Prin out of France, and he sits in second place. Third, your defending champion Payson Johnson on his newly acquainted Underground RC Kawasaki program. P4 still belongs to Seth Shirley, the atom.com number 441 machine. Still ahead there in fourth. Fifth is Alex Kerr on the Jack Daniels Racing number 84. Sixth now, Thomas Wilcox on the Phil's KTM, C4Designs.co number 33. Luke Sullivan, his teammate right there behind him in seventh on the number 18 machine. It's eighth for Maxime Vanderbeek on the Motorsport.com number 72, the rider out of Belgium. Ninth for Charles Gable on the FarmersOnly.com. That's number 396, and trying to make a pass up the inside. There it goes, Cooper Hunt. Underground RC number 38 machine now moves up into, 10th, I believe. Yeah, P10 for Cooper Hunt. 11th, it's Braden Tharp on the Phil's KTM number 415. 12th for Chris Post on the Team 2 Dope number 319. 13th for Rogan McIntosh on the MobGraphics.com number 89. 14th for Lane Wofford, the Underground RC 181. 15th is Dylan Cavacuti on the Underground RC number 94. 16th for Seth Carr, also his teammate on that 347. 17th for Devin Davis, the number 29 machine on the Phil's KTM. 18th for the Frenchman Johan Bordeaux on the Motorsport.com number 394. 19th comes to Cade Matherly on the Stance Honda, the 195 machine. And 20th is Ryan Pinkerton on that Yogi Designs number 395. That is a top 20 rundown brought to you by atom.com. Back to our leader, Logan Leitzel. And Johnson has now gotten around Prin for second. So Nathan Prin, oh, he's off the track and down right there. About to say he is falling apart a little bit moving into the second half of this race. Still remounts in third, but losing 2 points right now to Johnson. So at this point, actually, Prin's best friend is Logan Leitzel leading this race because he is keeping Johnson from at least tying Prin in the championship. If Prin were to finish third and Johnson wins this moto, it would go back to a dead tie between Prin and Johnson headed into Moto 2. So at the moment, Johnson's still going to be 3 points down in the championship. But we still have 9 minutes and 2 laps left to race in this one. There's Shirley, Wilcox, and Sullivan trying to close up. Alex Kerr has lost a position, 2 positions actually, to Wilcox and Sullivan. Vanderbeek, Post, Tharp, McIntosh. Cooper Hunt has lost some more positions. We had a good little battle in this midfield for a moment, but it seems to have stifled. Actually, let's see, we got one here coming up. Yeah, battle for 14th by the looks of it. Dylan Cavacuti, Devin Davis, and Lane Wofford with the 347 of Carr just up the road. And down goes Dylan Cavacuti. He is in a bad spot as Johan Bordeaux just misses him, as does Ryan Pinkerton. Charles Gable, James Wilcox coming up the hill behind these guys. Woo! James Wilcox tossing it at the top of Horsepower Hill there. Trying to keep it close there to Charles Gable. And Pinkerton down at the bottom of the hill behind Bordeaux. Devin Davis back up to this battle with Lane Wofford. Appears we have lost Devin Davis, so ground made up there for Wofford. Doesn't have to deal with that pressure anymore. Seth Carr, Cooper Hunt. Oh, Chris Post getting back on the track. Cooper Hunt hopping over top of him will move into 9th? No, 11th, excuse me. Logan McIntosh, P10, Tharp, 9th. Vanderbeek down in 8th, and Tharp is going to go through. Vanderbeek will remount still now in P9, but just ahead of McIntosh coming up from behind. Kerr, Sullivan, Shirley, and Wilcox has now got around Shirley as well. So Wilcox up into 4th and now sits 18 seconds behind a battle. Nathan Prin got back around Payson Johnson and a battle for second, but more crucially a battle for championship points on the line for first and second in the championship. Prin just made all kinds of mistakes at the bottom of the hill and tried to regroup and hug along the right side of Horsepower Hill up to the top. So 5 points in it. Prin, heading into the second half of this championship, holds a narrow margin of just 5 points on Payson Johnson in this 250 national championship. So Johnson would love to have that red plate back and put it firmly aboard his Underground RC Kawasaki, that new program that he's on. Prin is going to make him work for it, but that is a mistake for Nathan Prin. He has to go back to the inside as Johnson went to the outside, and Johnson gets the spot back. So Prin blew the rut at the bottom of the hill. Now he comes back alongside. Oh, so close, but Prin just has to settle in now and crosses over, nearly lands on Johnson's rear tire, trying to get the power down. Switches up lines, goes to the inside of the top of the hill, and scrubs it, just a little kick scrub. Johnson lays it over nicely, and they both funnel into that second rut. These two are 15 seconds off of race leader Logan Leitzel, and now I'm convinced that Prin is indeed doing that line on purpose. So I wonder if the RaceFactory Gaming admins, perhaps Jeremy Cohenauer, are taking a look at that and wondering if they might not issue a warning in between motos to Prin to no longer do that, because it does seem like he realizes there is not a timing gate there and continues to land off the track. Now going to jump in alongside Johnson, gets through the section a lot cleaner and moves back into second place. So let's go back on board with Johnson and take a look at what this looks like. 34.4, 34.5. They're running an identical pace. So this more or less kind of just comes down to who wants it more. Is Johnson. Oh, got a little sideways there. That was close. Little kick scrub. Gonna come up alongside. Back into second place goes Payson Johnson. Prin just lost all kind of drive. Has to go to the outside here, and Johnson just takes full advantage of it to go back into second place. Oh, but he almost went down. What a save. Now neither rider's going to get that good of a drive up Horsepower Hill, but Prin going to try the left side of the track, and it might work actually. Look at the drive he still was able to get. And he is indeed going to go back into second place. So this battle, oh, Johnson, oh, he's lagging. Oh, this is not going to be good if he lags out and he's down. I wonder if that crash might have been caused by a little bit of lag. He is still there, as you can see. You can see his lens flare there a little bit on screen, but now it's still lagging. Still tough go here for Johnson. This is interesting. So Payson Johnson is having some internet problems, and it seems like it may have ironed itself out here as he remains third. So that was weird, right in the midst of that battle with Prin, and things got a little dicey. But that benefits Nathan Prin quite a bit. He is now over 10 seconds ahead of Johnson. Which is for those of you new to RaceFactory Gaming National Competition. You can have a fall-off crash or a legs-off crash. Many people say one or the other. But basically in this game, if you have a heavy enough crash, your legs will fall off the bike, but your arms will stay attached. And those crashes are in the range of 8 to 12 seconds, so cut the difference to get a 10-second crash there usually. And now for Prin, he's pretty much a fall-off crash distance ahead of Johnson. So Prin now in a really good position here in second place to gain on Johnson 2 more points in the championship, out from 5 to 7. And sprinting away at the front, and unbeknownst to what's going on behind him here, is Logan Leitzel, the number 13 Phil's KTM machine. We've seen Leitzel do this before, where he just has magical days, really. Puts together 2 great motos, even 1 great moto, wins a moto, whatever it is. But this is a pretty great one so far. And if anything, he's basically showing that he has the pace to go 1-1 here today, even with a so-so start. So Lights are going to take us up Horsepower Hill again here, and with about 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the clock, I'm pretty sure it'll expire before they come through next time by. It'll be pretty close. I think it's going to be expired though. We got just about 1 minute left coming down this back section. They've got 10 to 15 more corners. Now 10 to 12 more corners still to navigate, so should be 2 laps to go next time by. Still Prince second, Johnson third. Sullivan has gotten all the way up to 4th, round the outside there of Thomas Wilcox, his teammate. And indeed, as mentioned in chat, there are 4 Phil's KTM riders inside of the top 5. And a lot of that has to do with Thomas Wilcox jumping from his C4 Designs gas program over to this Phil's KTM team. And it looks like he brought the C4 Designs moniker with him. But he is definitely showing well in his first ride with this new team. Keeping the pressure on Luke Sullivan, who arguably is still right in the thick of this championship hunt. So these two continue to battle it out for second place. Wilcox doesn't want to let Sullivan get away. Might actually get this pass done. Holy smokes, did he rip that inside line. Sullivan trying to fight back, but Wilcox might have the advantage going up the hill here. Jumps a little longer into the sand, so that might have killed some of his momentum, actually. Sullivan trying to square back off. And dualies to the top of the hill. Not quite side by side, but still good stuff. Both of them kicking it out. Oh, Wilcox. Rear end kick coming into that corner, and it just floated on in. Got a little dicey there. Another little mistake there. Wilcox was the winner in the second moto earlier this year at Redbud, so pace-wise, he has been solid through most of the season. And this fourth place might still have a chance to turn into a third place, as Johnson's just up the road. Meanwhile, Prin into some lap traffic. That's Seth Harnischweger on the 933 getting out of the way. Nicely done for him. And then just up the road, is that the 124 of Noah McLaughlin? It's tough to see these numbers sometimes. They're moving around so much. That's the 174, excuse me. Prin trying to get around him. Actually, not too far behind race leader Leitzel at this point. Just about 10 seconds down. We talked about that fall-off crash distance. So Prin is still pushing the pace here. 234.3. Only 2/10 faster last time by, but if Leitzel up front has more problems, never know. Also, Johnson, it sounds like, may have gone down again, so Wilcox going to close up. Sullivan right there. Might have a three-rider battle for third before long. And Leitzel making a few mistakes here and there. So let's go back and watch this battle for third. Johnson, Wilcox, Sullivan. Definitely Wilcox seems like he's the man on the mission here late in this one. Dropping back the hill into the switchbacks. Look at this line outside. Johnson, a mistake. That's going to allow Wilcox through. Oh, and Sullivan puts him on the ground, but Sullivan goes down. Maybe overzealous there. Sullivan sensing opportunity with Johnson. Bit wounded there from picking it up from the crash. And so gets into the side of the number one. And this is unfamiliar territory from what we normally see out of Johnson. It's not too often we see him late in motos going backwards, but he kind of is at this point. He's not running a solid pace, and he keeps crashing. So Wilcox moves up into third, which makes it a Phil's KTM podium sweep, at least for the time being again. And gains another 2 points towards the championship there for Prince. So it's out from a 5-point gap to a 9-point gap, provisionally speaking. White flag is waving for race leader Logan Leitzel out front. So the number 13 machine, who rides for the Troy Lee Designs Red Bull Gas program in Canada in real life. So any of you Canadian fans up there that have been going to some of the Canadian Nationals this year, perhaps you've seen Leitzel on the number 2450 out there. So very, very talented rider on a real motorcycle, just as he is here in the video game, and proves it time and time again. Comes out and just shows up pretty much just out of nowhere. It seems like he has flipped a switch and rides super strong. This is another one of those moments where it almost feels like if Leitzel could figure it out, put it together like this all the time, he should quite easily be a championship threat. But it does seem like the moments come few and far between, unfortunately. But maybe today is the day he gets his season back on track a little bit. Still not out of the woods just yet, literally speaking, and obviously talking about the time difference down to 8.4 seconds back to his teammate Prin. So Leitzel still has 4 or 5 more corners to navigate, and he's got this win locked up. Just trying to keep tabs on him because Prin is pushing the envelope. So if Leitzel does have a mistake, just never know. 7.9 seconds. You can see Prince scrubbing things down hard. Down to 7.4, continuing to just land hard, get the power back to the ground. Maybe get this thing as close as possible just in case here at the end. Well, Leitzel just has a little chicane right here to navigate. Then a right turn, a left-hand sweeper, and a right turn, and the final turn there. Down through the whoops one more time, and it is going to be Moto 1 victory on the docket here. A big one for Leitzel. He'll be stoked about this, no question about it. and trying to turn the season around in the second half. Going to start it off with a win here. Moto 1 at Washougal goes to Logan Leitzel. Nathan Prynne will cross the line in second, 5.6 seconds down in the end. Wilcox trying to hold on for third. Has a sizable gap now already, it does seem, on Payson Johnson, so he is pretty much locked into this spot. But how about this? This is going to be a great debut ride on this Phil's KTM team for Thomas Wilcox, and it's going to put them 1, 2, 3 in this moto. Wilcox crosses the line third. Ooh, Johnson, don't want to go down in the whoops there. Still have Sullivan potentially lurking in the background, but Johnson crosses the line fourth. There is Luke Sullivan coming down through the whoops to get fifth in this one. Sixth, looks like it'll be Alex Kerr, but Cooper Hunt trying to close it down in the late stages of this one. Maxime Vanderbeek is right there as well. Any one of these guys could flub the whoops and make things interesting. We'll look at Kerr first. Yeah, it looks like he's pretty solid, kind of hopping through him. Nothing really gnarly there. Cooper Hunt not getting them great. Vanderbeek gonna get close. 2/10 in it at the end. Hunt 7th, Vanderbeek 8th. Seth Carr will just get Seth Shirley for 9th by 4/10. And Lane Wofford will be 11th here. 12th should be Johan Bordeaux. 13th for Devin Davis. Braden Tharp gonna come down here in 14th. Ryan Pinkerton in 15th. Rogan McIntosh trying to get him. Jack Gatlin back there as well. This is going to come down to the flag. Gatlin a little slide out. Tharp crosses line 4th. Pinkerton gets through those rollers clean, so he'll get 15th, 16th for McIntosh. 17th there for Jack Gatland. James Wilcox up into P18. By the end of this one, Cade Matherly will have to settle for 2 points in this one with 19th. And Charles Gable in and out of the last corner for the final time. Brings it home with the final points paying position here in this one with 20th. Cuts are in. Let's take a look. Oh, Seth Shirley jumped Seth Carr for 9th. And the rest stayed the same. Logan Leitzel, your big winner here in 250 Moto 1. Alrighty, back in studio with you guys here. Kellen Brower bringing the action from Washougal tonight. And getting ready to go here for 450 Moto number 1 coming up next. So Leclerc, Lang, Eaglin, the big dogs ready to eat here in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Hopefully you guys are enjoying. Let's see what else we got going on in chat. What are you guys asking? What are the questions of the night? The burning questions. What's the chances that Leclerc rode a Cowie during SX because Jasikonis knew Ice 1 was going to be factory Cowie for 2022? I mean, talk about like Illuminati. I don't think that's why he did it. I think it was actually because Jasikonis was teetering on retirement, if I remember right. So he wouldn't have been on the Ice 1 team this year, but then signed on to them officially before the season started and all that. So I think he was just trying to do something fun and different and outside of the box from his normal factory Husqvarna setup. For those of you that don't know, Alexis Leclerc, 4-time national champion in this game. He rides for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna in MX Simulator because his team manager is Arminas Jasikonis, who also plays Sim and rides for the Ice 1 factory Husqvarna team in MXGP. So that dynamic was a little bit weird, seeing the AJ Originals, the Arminas Jasikonis Originals Kawasaki indoors that Leclerc was riding. But I don't think that had anything to do with Cowie potentially taking over that team next year, personally speaking. Let's see what other questions we got in the chat. No clue why 450s went first IRL at Millville. Kellen, any insight? Yes, 450s went first at Millville because the second motos of the 450 class ran live on NBC. NBC randomly sometimes will have a time slot open up on their main NBC channel. So before the golf tournament came on, I don't remember which golf tournament it was, which would have been at 3 Central Time. So 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. There was a 1-hour time slot that they could fit in the motocross. So they could have pushed the motos back an hour, started 250s, and then the first 450 moto is that slot. But instead, they pushed them up an hour, started 450s first. So they started at noon Central, at noon on Mad TV. 250 Moto 1 was second on Mad TV. Then on actual NBC, which I heard the numbers were off the charts because it was on the main channel in prime time midday Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Time. It was on live main NBC, and then they went back to NBC Sports for the 250 class. So that's why they offset it to go 450s first. It's usually related to TV that happens, but that is why it went 450, 250, 450, 250. Let's see. Okay, Logan got hurt in Canada. Ryder filled in for him. Okay, gotcha. Never heard of Libby's Moto World. I'm sorry. Yes, this game is PC only. Some guys get paid, some guys don't. There was a while where riders were getting paid like kind of a lot in this game. I don't think that's the case anymore. But yeah. Thoughts on Jeremy Martin career so far? I think it's like unfair to criticize him for being in the 250 class as long as he has. I know he has been in the 250 class for a long time. But he's been hurt like almost every year of his career. So unfortunately, that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I think he's had a pretty damn good career. 2-time outdoor champion. It's not something that a lot of people can exclaim, I guess is the right word there. So, yeah. All right, here we go. Getting ready to drop the gates in 450. Moto 1, get that moto timer on and see what happens. Braden Carter's lined up way outside. Let's try to find someone a little bit more up the inside. Magnetti, he's gotten good starts all year long. Let's drop the gate on 450. Moto 1 here at Washougal. Pretty even start. Looks like Leclerc got bunched out. Coming from the middle, perhaps it's a gas. 41 of Tyron Tomic gets the Studio 8 Hole Shot Award. You got Eagland right there. You've got Magnetti in the mix. Leclerc about mid-pack coming up the hill on the first lap. Trying to see. I don't see Tyler Lang. We got a rider looping out there. Janis to the race lead. Matthias Janis gets to the lead at the top of Horsepower Hill. So Janis, Tomic, Magnetti, Eagland, Frank Jackson around the outside alongside the 143 of Cole Gress. Good start for Cole Gress there. You got Austin LeBeau with a good start as well. Jumping down the hill in the background, Colton Mitchell on the 6. Nice. I like to see some fresh Suzukis in the mix as well. Colton Mitchell, former 250 national champion in this game on that number 6 machine. Then you got Leclerc right behind him. Everybody kind of shuffling around the positions here on the opening lap of the race and trying not to get into somebody, maybe tip over, get a front end lock, a legs off randomly, something stupid like that. So Janis leads him through the sand section up to the big step up in the back the first time. Janis from Tomic, Magnetti, Eagland. And then you got Cole Gress, Colton Mitchell, and Leclerc alongside Blakely. Oh, Leclerc almost landing on the rear tire there of the 21 of Chase Blakely. Got a little dicey in there, but not quite just yet. And now Mitchell runs it deep and goes off the track there. Pushing to the outside is Leclerc. Blakely goes defensive on the inside. Now Leclerc trying to turn it into the inside here. Going to get the pass back on the 21 machine. Also into the mix too, Nick Sellen, the German on the JRBR.co number 16 machine, but I think he actually is a different number that he's using in game. I still do not see Tyler Lang entering the whoop section on this first lap. So wow, bad start for the 14. Good start for the 130. Matthias Janis is out front. Trying to get away. Remember, it's 9 points in it between Leclerc and Lang. And 22nd officially credited at the end of first lap there for Tyler Lang. So this is going to be an opportunity that Janis doesn't get very often to pull away from the front if he can. Definitely has had the speed all year long, ran up front. Has not been able to kind of put it all together, it seems, for the full 30+2 to win a moto. But it has maybe his best opportunity this year right there. Got Brady, sorry, I was looking at Brady White in chat, but you got Tyron Tomic alongside Luke Magnetti side by side up the hill, and Luke Magnetti goes by. So Magnetti jumps up into second place, and Magnetti is a guy as well. Could play a bit of a spoiler here for our championship hopefuls. Oh, and now he goes down. Magnetti hits the deck. Eagland around Tyron Tomic and up into second place. So Janice, Eagland, and then the Aussie. Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Tyron Tomic running in third place in the early runnings. He's been fast this week in the game as well. Pretty good night at the GP on Monday. Qualified fastest for that race and then put together a couple top tens. Up to fourth already, though, is Leclerc. And Tomic down. Tomic down out of P3 and getting shuffled back in a hurry. So Leclerc going to jump by. Oh, Cole Gress lands sideways in the sand and goes down. So that allowed, is that also going to allow the 47 of Jackson through? Yes, it will. And here comes Magnetti and Tomic trying to pull up alongside. Oh, Tomic. Huge whip to get to the inside of Cole Gress at the top of the hill. And now everybody kind of scrubbing hard except Cole Gress coming down the other way. Now Tomic tucks the front wheel into the corner. Oh, now Gress goes down again, coming unglued a little bit there. Magnetti working on Frank Jackson, Blakely, Nick Sellen. Ooh, Leclerc was off the track. Gonna get back going still third, Eagland second. Janice leading though. Shout out to Brady White, by the way, who I just read in chat. Donates $5. Thank you so much, Brady, for the donation. He says Skyzor, #1. And Skyzor, for those of you unfamiliar, is Alexis Leclerc's nickname, I guess. I'm not sure where that comes from. I'm assuming it's his gamer tag or something along those lines. But Skyzor #1 has been a common theme, it seems like, for a while around the MX Simulator paddock. So Brady White currently cheering on the 4-time national champion Alexis Leclerc. Meanwhile, battle for the lead brewing out front. Colby Eagland sits third in this championship, but he's trying to go to first place in this race as he works on Matthias Janis up Horsepower Hill. And this is going to be crucial in the early stages for Eagland to try to get away from Leclerc, who is coming up from behind in third. Seems like Janis responding well to that pressure so far, though, not allowing Eagland to get in there just yet. Nothing in it, though, half a second. And Leclerc sitting 4.7 off the lead, continuing to kind of chunk that gap down slowly but surely, though. So what is going to happen first? Can Janis potentially up his pace and try to pull back away from Eagland? Or will Eagland get around Janis? Or might either of these riders have a crash ahead of them as they continue to battle each other? You can see Leclerc is lurking there in the background. And I'd imagine his eyes are fully set on going to the race lead as quickly as possible, especially with Lang still down in 19th. So this has the makings of a huge point swing moto for Leclerc if Lang can't turn things around in a big way as Eagland tucks the front end and goes down. That's going to allow Leclerc to go by into second place, and Eagland going to remount just as the 21 of Blakely goes by for third, and he will still be ahead of Magnetti, jumping up behind him there from fifth. So Eagland drops from second to fourth, and that moves Leclerc up into second place, and he's had clear air this entire lap, a 2:30.1 last time by. Let's get a check of the lap time this time through. Man, inside triple, quad, and then just kind of whoops it through the rest of them. 2:27.7, Alexis Leclerc. Oh, that man's a bad guy right there. Look at that. 2:30.8, almost. Actually, it was 3 full seconds gained on Janis last lap alone, and what do you know? The gap is now under 3 seconds between the two of them. So let's stick on board with Leclerc for a moment and see if this gap comes down in a hurry or not. 2:27.7, are you kidding me? I mean, I know these guys were hovering in the 24s, 25s, I believe it was, for qualifying, but it's so different. It's so challenging sometimes to ride this intensity level and that pace in the race, especially when you basically get, nowadays, like a full day and then some often to qualify. So these guys can really sweat the track a little bit. Impressive to see Leclerc putting these laps down at this stage of the moto, though, as he charges up Horsepower Hill, gets tremendous drive to the top, And now we're under 2 seconds. Launches out to flat. Seems like it maybe lost him a little bit of time. Then floats up to the top. High sides and down. Leclerc off the bike. There goes Blakely. There goes Eagland. Here comes Magnetti. Magnetti is just going to get that pass pulled off as he scrubs it down in front of Leclerc. So just as Leclerc was putting those laps down, it reaches up and bites him. Magnetti trying to fight back on the outside, but Leclerc jumps up into 4th. Eagland working all over Blakely for 2nd place right now. So Blakely from Eagland, then Leclerc and Magnetti, 2, 3, 4, 5 currently on the track. And with Leclerc's crash, that has obviously reopened the race lead for Matthias Janus. He's got I think this is now an 8-second gap he's working with. Let's go back. 6.6 actually. 2:29.9 out of Blakely last time by. So how about Chase Blakely showing up for the hometown race? I believe the Blakely powder coating brand company is actually based out of Oregon. I could be wrong there. I'll double check. But good to see the local guy out here trying to give it a go and maybe win this one today. Blakely, 2-time race winner in RaceFactory Gaming National Competition before. So Janus is starting to lose some time out front. Meanwhile, Blakely, he just made a mistake. Here comes Eagland up alongside over the finish line jump. 24 trying to get to the inside. Not quite there just yet. That's tightening up in a hurry. Something happened to Janus on that end of the last lap because it's now just down to 3.5 seconds. You can see Blakely, Eagland, Leclerc. What I love about this as well is we got 4 different manufacturers represented out front. Sometimes I don't quite enjoy when these guys, they latch on to everybody loving one model and you have like a billion Honda teams, a billion Cowie teams, whatever it is. Right now we got a Cowie leading from a Yamaha, a Honda in 3rd, and a Husqvarna in 4th. And then another Yamaha, BPC Yamaha there of Luke Magnetti in 5th. And look at this, Leclerc might have an inside move on Eagland, trying to force the issue and goes down again, and he's off the bike again as well. Nick Sellen goes by. There goes Tyron Tomic. And it changes the complexion once again. So back to this battle. Blakely now from Eagland and then Magnetti. And it does seem like Janus has maybe regrouped from whatever mistakes he was having because he's starting to stretch it back out ever so slightly out front. Blakely dealing with the pressure from behind out of Eagland. Might be putting him a bit on a struggle bus here. So Janus's lead now 3.6 seconds. So it's kind of stagnated. You can still see a flash of green right there on your screen of the race leader, Janus. And I'll tell you what, sneaking up into the picture here in a hurry actually is Luke Magnetti. He has caught Colby Eagland for 3rd. Eagland, at one point I thought was actually going to get Blakely kind of fast. He pulled up on him rather quickly, but now has made maybe a couple of mistakes here and there and has allowed Magnetti into the fray. Magnetti going to try an inside line here at the top of the hill. Oh, nearly side by side, but it's going to remain Eagland's line into the corner. And he holds on to 3rd. Report from chat, KR Money letting us know that Tyler Lang has now found his way into the top 10. So that's good news. We're not yet 12 minutes into this one, just about actually. Oh, Magnetti, little kick there on landing. Nick Sellen going to come to the outside. How about Nick Sellen on the number 16 machine, JIBR Co. He's actually number 412 in this race, but I guess he's running it's a sick setup too, that CRF all white Fox get up with some mixing colors. Got some shift gear. I dig that setup. Ooh, race lead is cut down significantly. Eagland has pushed Blakely forward, it seems, and they have both caught up to Janus out front. So Janus might not have the section after the finish line jump dialed, but it does seem like he maybe pulls away on Horsepower Hill. Now a mistake. Blakely blows the corner, and Eagland back into second place. So now Eagland back where he was before, trying to chase down Matthias Janis. We'll see how quickly he can maybe make this happen. And interesting as well, I mean, we have got a lot of unfamiliar faces at the sharp end of the field. Of course, Eagland and Blakely not too unfamiliar to the front, but Janis, rider who has not won a moto yet, he is trying to get one done. You got Nick Sellen also in the mix as well. Tyron Tomic, he's having a good moto. No sign of Leclerc or Lang at the moment because they both had their share of misfortune in the early runnings, but has definitely thrown things around. Magnetti now has Nick Sellen closing down. Look at this ride from Nick Sellen, the rider out of Germany on the JIBR Co. Honda. Number 412 in your program books, but he's currently using the number 16. And Tomic there in the background. Then you see Leclerc come into the picture. Is that another BPC Yamaha rider also here towards the front? Behind Leclerc? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's actually Blakely. He must have made a mistake and gone down now out of third. So there is Janis, Eagland, and now Magnetti, yes, has moved up to third. So Blakely went down. Sellen fourth. Tomic fifth. Leclerc there in sixth. And now Blakely drifts back to seventh. You got Tyler Lang up to eighth. And I'll tell you what, folks. Man, he is not that far off the race lead. He is 10 seconds down of Blakely. And Blakely, for the current situation, is definitely still in striking distance of the race leader, Janis, going over the finish line jump. I mean, he is basically the whoop section and the short straightaway before it, behind the race leader, and then 10 seconds further back of Blakely. You might even be able to see him just come into the background. Not quite yet, but Lang with Andonias Cura on the Impact number 280, or the 240, I should say, the Frenchman. Man, we have got a lot of foreign flavor here this week at Washougal. This has the makings of quite an interesting dynamic moving into the second half of this one. Tomic pushing on Sellen. You can see that there's Magnetti still just ahead of them. Eagland's still just 1.5 behind race leader Matthias Janis. So it actually seems like Magnetti's lost touch with them and has kind of fallen back to this battle. But that's Eagland down out of second. And everybody that was in this group except Blakely is now going to go by him. And there's an update on Lang. 21 seconds off the race lead. He's not lost too much ground. Leclerc pulls up alongside Tomic. Little mistake for the 41. Leclerc going to try to take advantage of it. Tomic dually scrubs at the top of Horsepower Hill. And Tomic trying to fend off the attack up the inside. Not able to get it done just yet. But that does not mean he is clear yet, is Leclerc. And trying to catch up to Nick Sellen. Then Tomic. And around the outside, Blakely gets back around Eagland. And as these riders all continue to change these positions around, kind of battle each other, you could argue they're slowing each other down. And that is, of course, only going to benefit Tyler Lang coming from 7th. So that promotes Nick Sellen to 3rd. It's Janis, Magnetti, Sellen. And then Leclerc now up into 4th with Tomic right behind him. So you have 2 Americans leading in Janis and Magnetti. The German rider of Sellen runs 3rd. The Frenchman of Leclerc in 4th. The Australian of Tomic runs in 5th. Then Blakely, of course, we've already talked about it, local to the area in the Pacific Northwest here in 6th. Eagland, also American, runs in, or no, Eagland, excuse me, from Canada, runs in 7th. Lang, the American, in 8th. And Andonias Cura, the Frenchman, runs in 9th. So we have got a whole gamut of different riders. 2 Frenchmen, a German, a Canadian, an Australian, and what, 3 Americans? And still so close going through the roller section before the finish line jump. So who is the man on the move right now? Actually, let's give ourselves a lap time check. 2:41.8, Eagland, of course, he went down. 2:30.8, Blakely. 2:32.7, Tomic. 2:29.9, Leclerc. 2:31.2 out of Sellen. A 2:30 flat out of Magnetti, and a 2:30.7 out of Janis. Magnetti just made a little mistake. That's going to allow Sellen to get back into the picture. And once again, we are nose to tail, 2nd through 6th. He's Selin launching out to flat by the mechanics area. And now he has his eyes on Magnetti. It's out to a 4.7 second lead for Janis going up Horsepower Hill ahead of these guys. Then Magnetti, Selin, Leclerc, gonna have Tomic right on his rear tire again here coming up the hill. Then you got Blakely, Eaglin, so this is actually all the way back to 7th, excuse me. All the while, Lang has clawed another 3 seconds back to the race lead, now just 18 seconds off the lead, while running in 7th. It's gonna happen first. Thought Janis may have been down. I heard a bike at idle just off screen right there, so Janis still holds on to the lead through the switchbacks. Magnetti, Selin, Leclerc, Tomic, Blakely and Eaglin coming in side by side. Who's going to come out ahead of whom? That might be Eaglin's spot. Yes, it is. The 24 of Eaglin up into 6th. And yeah, Lang lap time check is a good one. 29.4. So he is basically matching Leclerc at this point. But I mean, from him to the leader, you're not even at the top of the hill yet. The leader just U-turned to the top of the hill, so that shows you where Lang is in comparison. .9 lead, Janis to Magnetti. What is going to happen in this race? We're creeping up to 20 minutes in, and it seems like this is developing in such a strange way as Leclerc makes a little bobble right there. Leclerc has not been able to make huge inroads to Selin ahead of him. Selin actually closing up on Magnetti. There goes Janis over the finish line jump. Magnetti, Leclerc, Tomic all in the rollers together. And Eaglin down in the background. That is going to cost him maybe 2 spots. Here comes Blakely. And there is Lang. Lang is also going to go through. He's up to 6th now. Or is that 7th, excuse me. Yeah, actually 7th now for Lang up to this grouping, and he has got to sense so much opportunity with these guys close together. I can't imagine he thinks he's leaving here with anything less than a top 5, if not more. Nick Selin working on Luke Magnetti for 2nd place. Ooh, Magnetti, a mistake. Is that going to open the door? Nick Selin going to charge to this middle rut right here. It's not quite the best one, but he is still going to get a pretty decent drive and actually elects to go the middle up the hill, which is something that not many riders have done. And that's Janis! Matthias Janis down at the top of Horsepower Hill, out of the race lead. That puts Magnetti to the front. Magnetti from Selin, Leclerc, Tomic, nose to tail at the top of the hill. What a change at the front. And suddenly Lang in 6th is ahead of Blakely, just 11 seconds off of race leader Luke Magnetti from 38th on the opening laps. Oh, nothing in it from our leaders though. Magnetti, Selin, Leclerc dropping down the hill. 3 different manufacturers, 3 different nationalities, 3 different backgrounds as well to get to where they are. Leclerc trying to get up the inside of Selin into this corner at the bottom of the hill. Selin going to charge the outside. Leclerc inside. Who's going to come out? Oh, I thought Leclerc maybe got put to the ground. Incredible. What is happening at this stage of the race? 21.5 minutes have gone. Selin and Leclerc battling for 2nd as Magnetti leads. Tomic is still hot on their heels. 4 different nationalities out front. American, German, French, and Australian. Incredible action this racetrack is providing. It always seems to give us a little bit more of a punch here. Racing at Washougal. And a mistake there for Selin. Is this going to be Leclerc's opportunity to pounce up the inside? He's pulling alongside, but does he have the pass done just yet? No, Selin keeps the battle at bay and remains in 2nd. Look at Tomic, though. He is all over Leclerc here. And they're still right on Magnetti for the lead. Incredible, incredible action here at Washougal. And you see Janis still there in the background on his Cowie. Tomic inside line on Leclerc. Tyron Tomic passes Alexis Leclerc into third place. What is happening in the Pacific Northwest? Tyron Tomic got the fire in his belly, now going after Selin. Look at the speed the 41 machine is carrying. He's going to try to funnel into the inside here. And now Magnetti leads from Selin, Tomic, and Leclerc headed up the hill. Oh, Nick Selin, big time laying it over. Who is going to win this moto? This is incredible action. Magnetti wants to get this one in. Selin trying to come in for the first time all year, win the moto straight off the bat. Tyron Tomic, he's been fast all week like we talked about. Or Leclerc, the savvy veteran, the four-time champion, lurking in the shadows. Janice in 5th, Blakely 6th, Eaglin 7th. Lang has gone back to 8th. He's still only 18 seconds off the lead, though. Uh-oh, what happened? Tomic must have tucked the front end in the switchbacks. Now back to 4th, and Janice is still lurking right there from 5th. Incredible. You gotta give credit where it's due for Luke Magnetti. Gifted the race lead when Matthias Janice went down, but he has held so steady under the pressure with Selin, Leclerc, Tomic, everybody throwing stuff at him. And he has remained steadfast out front. So coming down to complete lap number 10 onto the 11th lap of the race, Magnetti still leads from Nick Selin, Alexis Leclerc, Tyron Tomic, Matthias Janice, Chase Blakely, Tyler Lang. That is our running order, and you can see basically our top 5 all on the screen coming down by the finish line. 2-second lead for Magnetti, another 2 seconds back to Leclerc, another 2 seconds back to Tomic, and then a further 6 back to Blakely, who has now actually gotten around Eaglin. Janice went down, I think, perhaps in the whoop section, so Lang back to 8th. Go on board with Leclerc and see how this battle right here is kind of shaping up between he and Nick Selin. Yeah, good to see Bob Joe is back indeed. I actually met the Bob Joe at Redbud, but I will not give away his story. And his tail is Nick Selin. Oh, it finally comes apart for the German out of second place. Gonna go back to 4th in this one. And there's Blakely, Eagland, Janice, and Lang. So Lang at the bottom of Horsepower Hill is basically the Horsepower Hill distance behind your race leader Luke Magnetti from 8th. So Lang, 39 flat, must have crashed last time by, but he was definitely on the move before. Janice, 41 flat. We know he crashed. He actually crashed twice, we believe. Or maybe a little mistake in the second half of that one, but he is now 7th. 31.8 out of Eagland, running in 6th. 31.6 out of Blakely, he's running in 5th. 31.5 out of Nick Selin, but obviously he just went down, now he's 4th. Leclerc back to 3rd, actually. 33.2, and just got passed again by Tyron Tomic, a 35.2. This is all playing into the hands of Luke Magnetti, who is now 7 seconds out front and looking at a pretty comfortable margin to work with here. Obviously, there's always the potential of a crash, but he doesn't have any direct pressure like he has pretty much had for the last 10 or so minutes. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if Magnetti's ever won a RaceFactory Gaming North America 450 class moto before. He's definitely been very close. I think he does have one. Oh, Tomic down again. Selin goes by for 3rd. There goes Blakely for 4th. Here comes Eagland into the fray. Not quite going to get there just yet. And then Lang with Janice. Lang just got around Janice. Look at this. This is insane how close this still is. Leclerc, Selin, Blakely, Tomic, Eagland, Lang, Janice, all still pretty much nose to tail from 2nd back to 9th. Coming through the whoop section. 8-second lead now for Magnetti. And I apologize, we have not done a top 20 rundown this entire moto. And we probably missed out on some good battles, good riders mixed in. Of course, we're hearing about some drama with Adam Holm, Isaiah Dickerson involved. But the action out front has been so good throughout this race. And tell you what, Nick Sellen doesn't want to let Leclerc get away. Magnetti and then Leclerc going up the hill. Leclerc is trying to lap 245 of Brandon Larson there. And Holm down in 26th as well. So it appears like whatever it was that was going on with him and Dickerson is really taking a toll on the number 17 machine, which is a shame to see because he has been a massive threat in this championship. Rider's down. That is Magnetti. Magnetti is down, getting up alongside Leclerc. Leclerc is going to take the lead again. So that was interesting. Magnetti was down with a lapped rider, but I don't know if it was caused by the lapped rider or Magnetti just went down on his own. He's trying to get back around Leclerc, though, and Leclerc takes the lead from Magnetti. Nick Sellen moves to third. Blakely right there in fourth. Tomic fifth. Eaglin sixth. Lang in seventh is 8 seconds off the lead with time about to expire. Oh my goodness, this is going to be absolutely insane. Leclerc, for some reason, doesn't feel like he has the outright pace to actually hold this thing on for the rest of the moto. Oh, as a lapped rider just got a little sketchy alongside of him. So here we go. This is going to get very interesting. And are they maybe going to get another lap? We've got 15 seconds on the clock. I know the timer you guys are looking at is about to expire, but I'll tell you when time runs out. Leclerc's going to have about 10 seconds from this corner to get to the flag. Let's see if he does it. 4, 3, 2, 1. And I think he was over before time expired. Wow, that is going to be 3 to go. That just adds to the complexity of this race because there's still so much that these guys can do, and Lang is caught up to Eagland. So Lang going to go to work on Colby Eagland. Tyron Tomic just ahead of these guys. Then it's Blakely, Sellen, and Magnetti right behind Leclerc. And oh my goodness, there's basically just, what, 6 seconds now? 7.6 seconds back to Lang from race leader Leclerc. Like I said, it just doesn't feel like Leclerc is going to run away with this thing with the way that this race has been. But hey, maybe this is his chance finally out front to kind of sprint away. Magnetti is going to keep the pressure applied as best as he can. Leclerc, Magnetti, Sellen, Blakely now alongside Tomic. He's going to try to get this pass done. Then you've got Eagland and Lang bringing up Caboose on this battle. 7 riders still have a shot to win this moto in 450 moto number 1. Tomic, oh, big kick out. Blakely around the outside. Gonna get that pass to stick, it looks like. Oh, that's Lang down the inside of Eagland. Eagland, oh, Lang had the pass and tucked the front tire. Eagland was all kinds of out of shape on the outside line. But we'll settle back in now. Oh, wait. Change for the lead. Magnetti back to the front. Magnetti from Leclerc. Sellen now right on Leclerc. Blakely right there as well. Just as I expected, or suspected, I should say, I didn't think Leclerc was completely out of the woods from a mistake. And now Blakely side by side with Tomic. Tomic, a big off. Into the crowd he goes. And that will promote Tyler Lang up to 6th. Eagland 5th, Blakely 4th, Sellen 3rd, Leclerc 2nd. Magnetti leads, but he's coming to 2 laps to go. And this is going to be one of the longest races we'll have all year. I'd have to imagine with lap times in the 230, 240 range. And they just missed the clock, so this is going to get to 35 minutes before the white flag even waves as Magnetti brings us down to get the 2-lap board. Rider down, that's Copeland. He's trying to get going and stay out of the way as Leclerc hops in. Sellen, Blakely, and it indeed is 2 to go. Leclerc, Sellen, Blakely, Eagland, Lang. Look at Lang here. All the opportunities. could gain on Leclerc. Is that a mistake again for Leclerc? Is that... No, that's Selin. Excuse me, Selin just went down. That was Selin sliding out of third. Lang up into fifth, now behind Eaglin, who goes to fourth. Blakely to third. Leclerc remains second. Magnetti leads. And Magnetti is not going to go down without a fight. That is for dead certain. Word from chat. Thank you to KR Money again for the intel that he always provides. But this would be Magnetti's first career 450 moto win if he can get it done. Leclerc wants it bad, though, and he is closed right up to that rear tire heading up Horsepower Hill. And this could very easily come to blows between these two and open up the door of opportunity. Blakely is still right here. Wouldn't that be something to win on home soil? Lang all over Eagland. He almost got him right here a lap ago. Let's see if he can get it again. No. Eagland, good defensive riding, and no, he goes down, so Lang up to fourth. There goes Selin into fifth. And Eagland going to remount as Tomic goes by for sixth. And now Lang knocking on the door for a podium after being 38th on the opening lap of this race. And Leclerc still working on Magnetti. So time is definitely running out here for something to happen. Leclerc, whether he's going to get to Magnetti, whether Lang can get up there and battle Blakely. Lang is only 5 seconds off the lead. This is just absolutely incredible scenes here at Washougal. And the white flag is about to come out, this time by Luke Magnetti, looking for his first career moto victory. Leclerc trying to end the party early a little bit here and get another moto win to his tally. Blakely, the local kid from Oregon in the Pacific Northwest, trying to win from third, and Lang coming from nearly dead last still has a shot to win this moto. Magnetti crosses the line. White flag is waving. Leclerc's there in second. Blakely is third. Lang is all over him for that spot, though. And this is going to get good. Oh, look at Lang pushing around the outside. Turns to the inside here. Is this going to be the pass for third? Not quite just yet. But he's definitely got his nose in there saying, hey, I am here, and I would very much like to take this position away. And then he would only limit the damage to 2 points lost on Leclerc, when at one point in this moto, he was like 25 seconds behind Leclerc. And at this stage, he's pretty much about 3 seconds behind. Blakely, a mistake. Lang up into third. Tyler Lang has taken over third place. 231.3, 232.7 Leclerc, 232.6 Magnetti. So Lang, fastest rider on the track. Blakely trying to fight back up the top of Horsepower Hill. Lang just lays it over huge, gets that power back to the ground, and he still maybe has a shot to get Leclerc before this is over. And who knows, if things get crazy in these last 4 or 5 corners of the race, might have a shot at the win. Look at how close this ended up being in the end, and Leclerc another mistake. Magnetti, half a lap to go. Heart and mouth moment right here. He's wanted this moment for so long. I'm sure he wouldn't have had to, or wouldn't have liked to have to work this hard to try to win the first moto of his career. But he's certainly having to do the work to keep the 4-time champion behind him. Up the hill one more time into the sand. Leclerc definitely closing up a little bit. This is maybe the closest it's been in these last few laps. We're at 37 minutes into this race, and there's still a few corners to go. Magnetti has got to tighten the sphincter up a little bit here and close this one off. It's a 1.5 second advantage with 4 corners to go. Leclerc is pushing. It's going to come down to who gets the whoops cleaner. Scrub table. Down through the back section. The sweeper. And the final turn one more time. Can he get it done? He's got to get the whoops clean. Magnetti in. Triples. Got it clean. Triples again. And for the first time in his career, Luke Magnetti wins the 450 Moto 1 here at Washougal. Leclerc second. Blakely got back around Lang at the line for third, and Lang ends up fourth. Eagland fifth, Tomic sixth, and Selin down, but he's going to pick it up and still get seventh. What an absolutely insane moto here at Washougal. It was exactly 1.5 seconds in the end between Magnetti and Leclerc. And, oh, man, if you're Magnetti, you just hope to no end that there is not cuts involved in this situation. Jack Haley's going to bring it down in ninth, so he takes it out of the consolation race and puts the two-stroke inside the top 10. And Frank Jackson on a 450. Great effort for Team Nami here on the 47. He ends up 10th in this moto. Colton Mitchell hopping through on the 6th, drifted back to 11th. Daniel Mills looks like he is charged forward up into 12th. Antonius Cura has a lap rider right behind him, so he should be good there in 13th. Kyle Carpenter actually just got passed by Braden Carter, so Braden Carter moves up to 14th late in this one. Carter trying to hold on to this spot, a little mistake. K-Carp trying to get back up the inside, but lands on a hay bale there. And Castaneda also getting into the fray. Oh, Carpenter a little slide into the last turn, so crossing ahead it was Mitchell, and then Mills as Cura, Carter, Carpenter, and Castaneda 16th, Pilsner 17th, 18th for Adam Holm, 19th is Caleb Hall, and 20th is going to be Austin Bear. Whew. All right, catch your breath, folks. That was race of the year, perhaps, and we've had some pretty darn good ones. Bob Joe gonna end up behind Reed Young for 22nd. No, actually just got tipped at the line by Aaron Rockefeller. Austin LeBeau will get 24th, 25th for Dylan Smith, and Jeffrey Bruns, last rider on the lead lap in 26th. So let us wait for those cuts to come in to just ensure we are good to go. With our top 20, Austin Bear here in 20th. And rider just down before the finish line jump, waiting for him to cross. There we go. Take a look at cuts. And it remains the same. Luke Magnetti is a winner in RaceFactory Gaming Competition 450 Moto 1 here at Washougal. Goes to Luke Magnetti. Great work for 30. And I'm sure he's over the moon about that. Now he's got to collect his thoughts, collect himself. Fortunately, he has another 35 or 40 minutes or so to do so, as coming up next is actually going to be 250 Moto 2 before we see these 450 guys out there again. But a terrific race. Whew, that one had a little bit of everything in it. That was insane. Lang should have probably got a third in that one, crashed at the line, but came from so far back to get there. All right, everybody, catch your breath. That was a crazy one. All right, 250 Moto 2 coming up next as we bring you back to the intermission screen here. Kellen Brower in booth. I don't even know what to think. That was one of the best races we've seen for a good while here in RaceFactory Gaming Competition. And, man, it has the potential to get even better in 450 Moto 2. Yeah, good stuff all around. I did want to give a quick shout out. I missed it earlier on. Devin Davis super chatted $10. So thank you, Devin Davis, for the donation. I'm sorry the race was so frantic that I missed it. But he says, thanks for streaming as always. But thank you, Devin. You're always so kind to come by the broadcast. And you do donate pretty frequently. So thank you so much for that. And out here putting motos in as well as you're getting ready to go for 250 Moto 2, I think. So Good for that. All right, let's see what the questions are in chat that I'm missing out on so far. It looks like you guys are stoked on that race. Alligator says, Kellen, is this the greatest 450 moto since Leclerc and Holm battle for the title? I don't know, man, dude. We've had some pretty darn good races this year. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely up there. One of the best of the year for sure. Tough to say. I don't know. Definitely not better than the Holm Leclerc one for 2018 title, though. That one still is probably #1 all time. Crazy race. KR Money's yelling down here in the mechanics area. KTM John says, am I going to stream more MX bikes? Yeah, I definitely want to stream more MX bikes. Honestly, right now, as you guys have probably seen with the channel, like there's almost nothing going up lately on the channel. You know, I've been going to more races, went to Redbud, Millville, going to Washougal this weekend, so I just have not had time to like even make any content. So it's been pretty much streams, and as we get into the off season, I'll do more MX bike stuff and maybe more MX bike streams. And hey, maybe someday I'll do one of these types of races. Whoever hosts these types of races in MX bikes, got my digits if you want to give me a call, and love to do some stuff over there with you guys. I might be at Foxborough SX. I don't know. That's a long time out. Not sure. Did I see that right? I swear I got lapped by a top 10 battle for the lead with 5 minutes to go. Yeah, you did, Ethan. Unfortunately, I think you were actually down with Luke Magnetti, who was in the lead at one point. And then, yeah, there was basically just like nothing in it between 1st through 8th for the entire moto. So that was, if you guys missed that, I definitely recommend scrolling back and watching some of that right now, because that was epic. Yeah, I'm going to do more track walks and cat and mouse again. Just busy. Yes, I did record the Jeff Walker Racer X video. That was all my idea right up here from the noggin. Pitched it to Weege and said, hey, I think, you know, all these people are doing vlogs over, you know, you got AC, you got Barsha, you got, of course, Wilson, the Craig family, A-Ray, Troll Train. Everybody's doing vlogs. But kind of flying under the radar, I guess, in terms of like a national coverage scale is Jeff Walker. I mean, he's right up there with Dean Wilson in terms of viewership. So I said, hey, we should give this kid like kind of the spotlight and maybe do a little bit of day in the life thing with him. So Weege gave me the green light on that. And yeah, followed Jeff around all day at Millville, and it was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy that video. The people want cat and mouse. Dude, I want cat and mouse. That was a lot of fun. So we'll do more of it. Maybe more in the off season, more live cat and mouse. That'll be fun too. All right, here we go. Let us go racing. Any insight on AC real quick? It does sound like his season might be over. I don't know officially. That's not the official word, but he's been dealing with that ulnar nerve issue, so it's a good chance he might be getting surgery. But we'll see. Looks like a Casey Cochran on the start here. Here for 250, excuse me, Moto 2. Going to be lined up right next to the box as we get ready to go racing one more time. The 250 Moto 2 is underway at Washougal. Actually, a pretty good start for Cochran. Let's see if he can swoop this thing in and get a pretty good start. He's going to get taken down. Meanwhile, side by side into the second corner, Prinn and Johnson get together. Johnson down. I believe Nathan Prinn officially got the Studio 8 Whole Shot Award, but Prinn and Johnson rubbing number plates into the second corner, and Prinn is going to be Johnson going to be all the way at the back. So Prinn leads the race in the early runnings. Chris Post, Logan Leitzel, Braden Tharp. Wow. That is huge. Luke Sullivan is up here as well. Cade Matherly, he's got a good start. Jack Gatland as well. Wow. All right, so this is going to shape up the championship in a whole different dynamic than what we saw in the first moto. As long as Prinn can stay on two wheels in the early runnings here and not get himself in early trouble, maybe sprint away with a moto victory here. The first moto, of course, though, it was Leitzel with the win. Prinn second, Wilcox third, Johnson fourth. So Prinn actually extended his championship lead from 5 out to 9. And we're looking at a whole lot more As it currently stands, we'll have to see exactly where Payson Johnson gets to by the end of lap number 1. Yeah, Amateur Day, I believe, is Friday at Washougal. They also do Sunday Amateur Day, I believe, as well. As post goes down, Leitzel goes through. Oh, Sullivan just got nudged there ever so slightly and taken to the ground. This will give us a good indication as we go back. Cooper Hunt, he just got taken down. And there is Payson Johnson. Payson Johnson is 23rd and absolutely buried. And side by side with his teammate, Cooper Hunt. Going to go up to 21st, so a couple passes done right there. Trying to get inside of the points here before the end of the first lap, and will do so. So Johnson officially credited with 20th at the end of lap 1. But his championship counterpart, Nathan Prynn, is leading here at Washougal. And interesting, I feel like Washougal pretty consistently has talked about a track that foreign riders excel at. Not sure why that is. You know, some people always say Unadilla is the most Euro-style track on the schedule, but foreigners also seem to do pretty well at Washougal. And it's kind of ringing true in the game. We saw the 450 class. You got Nick Sellen, Tyron Tomic up there. Just a lot of foreign flavor. Leclerc obviously always does well here. And now you got a Frenchman in Nathan Prynn. He's trying to go 2-1 on the day and win the overall. So the early stages of this one, it's Prynn, Leitzel second, Tharp third. So it's Phil's KTM 1, 2, 3. And it's a little bit of a different cast than last time. It is, of course, still Leitzel and Prynn, but Wilcox is third in the first moto. Tharp is third currently. Johan Bordeaux with a good start. The 394 motorsport.com KTM. Another fast Frenchman into the mix. And he's tailed by the Brighton of Jack Gatland on that MXS Magazine GeoGuessr Yamaha. And then everyone's favorite fresh-faced YouTuber, Cade Matherly, also back there as well. I think, is that Devin Davis perhaps on the Phil's KTM mixed in there? Drag race up the hill here between Gatland and Bordeaux. Not a bad start for Wilcox. He's in 8th early on. Sullivan actually only dropped to 9th with that little soiree. Around the outside comes Cade Matherly on Jack Gatland. Nice. Good move there. On rider down, that is Tharp. So those two switch around him, and Gatland trying to get back around Matherly. Oh, contact, and they both make big mistakes. Fortunately, neither rider actually fell off the bike, and Gatland will retain the position ahead of Davis. Then you got Thomas Wilcox there in the background, then Luke Sullivan on the 18 coming in. Now Matherly jumps in behind them, then Tharp. There's literally 5 Phil's KTMs on the screen there coming through the whoops right now as Gatland goes defensive to block Devin Davis. Swinging to the outside, though, trying to make a pass is Wilcox and Luke Sullivan. Up the inside of Gatland, Wilcox trying to get a nose in there. Not quite able to do anything just yet, though, and now Davis dealing with the attack there from the outside as Sullivan crosses over. There's near contact with the teammates, and Sullivan able to go around the 29. A big scrub back onto the start straight, down by the mechanics area. As we take a look at our race leader again, Nathan Prynn at the very, very tippy top of Horsepower Hill here. Scrubs it down nicely off the first step down and into the second one. Down the inside there. Then Leitzel, this is another good start for him. Maybe starts chipping away the time. Then Bordeaux, Wilcox, Gatland, Sullivan, Davis, Matherly, Tharp, Wilcox, Horn, Cochran, and then Johnson here in 13th. So Payson Johnson has already made a pretty decent bit of moves to get into 13th place, but now it's going to get tough. More and more fast riders that he's running into. Cochran avoiding a flipping bike there of Alec Horn. So Johnson moves up to 12th now behind Cochran, who goes to 11th. Another rider down. That was Sullivan, I believe. Yes, it was Luke Sullivan. So Johnson now goes to 11th. Trying to go around the outside. Cochran gets together with James Wilcox. And they're down, so that allows Johnson up to 9th. And just as we go on board with Payson Johnson, he jumps up 4 more spots and continues to march forward. It does appear that Johnson is riding with a little bit more urgency than we saw in the first moto. He kind of fell flat late in the first moto and just couldn't quite keep a few of the riders that he was battling behind and made a couple too many mistakes. Now it seems like he's regrouped pretty nicely here and definitely surging in these opening laps to try to get as many positions back as possible after being taken down there with Nathan Prynne coming into the second corner. So perhaps a little bit of championship drama involved here. Johnson carrying the momentum over the whoop section. Charging hard to the outside, crosses back over. And that is going to be Bordeaux just ahead of him. That's Matherly down, so Johnson up to 8th. There's Bordeaux on the 394, so he has gone back from 3rd to this battle, and that means Prynne is well out in front and really only about 4 or 5 seconds up the road from Johnson is now 2nd place. .231.7 Johnson last time by. He is most certainly one of the fastest riders on the track. And you can see Prynne already got a pretty nice lead in the upper right-hand corner of your screen going up the top at the very top of Horsepower Hill. Here's Johnson alongside Bordeaux. This is going to be for 7th. Bordeaux trying to fight back along the left side of the track. And it seems like Johnson might have just enough of a nose here at the top to get around. Another rider down. That was Wilcox. Now Johnson up to 6th. So in one lap on board that we were with Johnson, he has gone up 7 positions from 13th to 6th, and it does not seem like he is done just yet. Now he is going to catch up to Braden Tharp ahead of him and try to get to the inside here in the switchbacks. Not quite close enough yet, but going to go inside to out, get a drive down the hill. Going to get a nose into the outside. Let's see if he can carry the speed around the outside and get this pass done. No, Tharp, a little better on the inside. Little scrub at the top of the hill. It does seem like Johnson is only a matter of time, and here he goes. Gonna scrub out of the corner and get up the inside of Tharp, already up to 5th. We're not even 10 minutes into this moto. Payson Johnson absolutely flying. Next up ahead of him, that is one of the Phil's KTM riders trying to get a number. Oh, Johnson, big mistake. Nice job to save it, but up to 4th is Johnson now. Devin Davis working on Jack Gatland. So this is your battle for 2nd right now. Gatland and Davis, but long gone out front is actually Logan Leitzel. Uh-oh, so that is actually Prynne then that has gone now behind. I thought that was Prynne the whole time we were seeing way out in front. It is not. It is Leitzel out front, and Prynne has to do the work to get back around Johnson. Otherwise, the championship points are going to start flowing back towards the number 1 machine. But now Prynne has gotten around his teammate Tharp and is the next in line there behind Johnson ahead. It's like Johnson and Davis side by side up the road a little ways, and Johnson going to move into 3rd. So Johnson now going to try to run down Jack Gatland on the 369. MXS Magazine Yamaha, supported by Gio Gesser around the outside. Johnson charging down the hill. Wow, Devin Davis fighting back, gets through again on Johnson. So Devin Davis, hook, line, and sinker got that rut super smooth. Here they come off the top of the hill. Little scrub to the outside. Johnson going to try to make this line work again. It didn't work the first time. Doesn't work again. It seems like that inside, as long as you hook it well, is just a tiny bit faster. Look at that, though. Johnson launching deep into the sand. Got to be careful, though. The more flat you land on that, or even potentially on the upslope of a roller in the midst of the sand. Oh, Devin Davis, we just missed it off screen. Tossed a fat one, but he was completely backwards for a second. And unfortunately, it has cost him the position. Trying to fight back, though. Doesn't want to let Johnson have this spot that easily. Going to try to go up the inside here in the last turn. Johnson outside, just going to triple in and try to keep the speed up. Kind of gliding across the very tippy tops of them, and then Prin sneaking into the picture as well on the 42. Gatlin still occupies second place, but here comes Johnson. Prin, meanwhile, trying to get Davis, his teammate, for fourth, is going to do so. He is trying to get as close as he possibly can to Johnson, actually nearly alongside right there. So Prin, fastest rider in this group, suddenly has closed right up into the middle of this entire battle, which has gotten really gnarly here in the last couple of laps. 4 riders nose to tail for second. Prin, oh, Johnson lands on Gatlin and goes down. Prin had to check up to not hit him, and that allowed Devin Davis through. There goes Tharp, there goes Bordeaux, and Johnson remounts behind them in 7th. And that is, of course, only going to benefit Nathan Prin, who is trying to get back into second place around Gatland. Might actually have a move already set up here at the top of the hill, trying to get the power back down again. And no, Gatland shuts the door there at the top. So it's close, but not quite just yet. Now Devin Davis is fighting back on his teammate. Heard a bike getting picked up off the ground right there, but it appears to be on the sky shot going the other direction. Now these guys are just going to carry all this speed hard to the outside. Prin turns to the inside here on Gatland. Is this going to be second place for the 42? Oh, not quite yet. Gatland, a nice job charging through the outside line there in the turn and stays just a nose ahead so far. But Prin is certainly up the intensity here. Here we go, top of the hill again. Oh, Dooley's at the top again. Prin around the outside, gonna try to get this pass down on Gatland. Dooley's coming together, and they go down. Prin gets dragged. Gatland cuts the track aggressively to stay into second place. Devin Davis goes through to third. Tharp now fourth. Bordeaux 5th, Johnson 6th, Matherly 7th, and Prin slides back to 8th. Ah, the consequence of dualies. And that was more or less also lag of 2 riders on the other side of the pond from where the server is. These servers are based out of the East Coast of the U.S., and Gatland from Great Britain, Prin from France, both probably having a little bit of network lag. And so Prin has to go back to work again, but fortunately, for his sake, he is still just right there behind the number 1 machine of Payson Johnson. Johnson trying to go up the inside of Bordeaux. Gonna get that pass done. Nicely done. Bordeaux trying to fight back on Johnson. Tharp just ahead on the 415. A little mistake, and Bordeaux, oh, nearly comes to blows with Johnson, excuse me. And now Prin back into the fray once again. Tharp, Bordeaux, Johnson, Prin, Matherly, nose to tail up Horsepower Hill. And Johnson already, whoa, Tharp. Barrel roll, lands it, but going to lose some spots, and Johnson already going back to work on Bordeaux. He's in a French sandwich right now. Prin behind And Bordeaux ahead. Look at that line up the inside, though. Good enough to make the pass. Gets around Bordeaux. And now it's Prin's turn to try to make a quick move on Bordeaux. Look at Bordeaux to the outside, though, charging hard. But Johnson goes defensive on the inside and makes it work. Now Prin has to settle in behind his countryman. And it's Leitzel from Gatland, Davis, and then Johnson. Meanwhile, Devin Davis and Jack Gatland once again battling it out for second. It's been this way for a little while now. Leitzel is long gone at the front. Doolies. Not as big, though. Davis threw a fat one earlier, so I'm going to let that one slide because it was absolutely naughty and we didn't catch it on camera, so feels bad, man. Prin losing touch a little bit with Johnson as Bordeaux holds the 42 machine behind, and you also have Wilcox on the 33 coming up as well. Here's Davis alongside Gatland. Gatland crossing over to defend. Davis going to have a better drive over the finish line jump, and that's good enough for second place. Nice pass by Devin Davis. But both of these two have got to keep eyes in the back of their head because here comes the number one of Payson Johnson again. And at this stage, all anybody is fighting for at this stage of the moto is second place because long gone at the front is Logan Leitzel. Gatland got in Johnson's way for a second. Slowed the one down, but now stays ahead, does Jack Gatland. Nice scrub there for Gatland, stays low. Johnson still there lurking, blows the rut, does Gatland. Johnson into his rear tire and down, but not off the bike. Crucially not off the bike. Here comes Wilcox. Where's Prin? Prin has lost some ground. He's lost a position to his teammate Wilcox and actually has Matherly closing in, so it seems like Prin maybe hitting a bit of a lull at the midpoint of this moto. Oh, Wilcox pushing out of 3 ruts right there to the far outside. Johnson up the road. Gatland and Devin Davis in second. And here is Leitzel going the other way towards the step up. Massive lead. 22.9 seconds. Nowhere even close to anybody. Not even close to lappers, not close to second or third. He's got pretty much 23 seconds behind him and 30 some odd seconds ahead of him to the next rider that he's going to see. So at this stage, it does seem like Logan Leitzel's got a pretty comfortable grasp on a very, very out of nowhere almost a 1-1 performance potentially today at Washougal. There is Davis, Gatland, Johnson, and Wilcox keeping it close to Johnson, and then Prin coming through with Matherly still on his tail. Nice dualies for Prin and Matherly, not quite side by side as usual, but both of them laying it over. Gonna have to figure out some tidy little overalls at the end of the day because this is gonna be very split up. It's 1-1 for Leitzel. That's easy math. Devin Davis right now running in second, was 13th in the first moto. Gatland running in third was 17th in the first moto. Oh, what a wild ride. Nice save. Now going to drop to fourth, though, as Payson Johnson goes through. So Johnson, we believe right now, should have second overall pretty wrapped up with a 4-3. Gatland drops back to fourth. Wilcox now fifth. He was third in the first moto, so he's looking at 3-5. And Prin looking at 2-6. So it kind of depends on how Wilcox, Prin, and Johnson shuffle up the rest of these positions throughout the remainder of the moto to determine the podium overalls. Doesn't seem like Gatland has really let Prin get too far away. Keep calling him Prin, but it's Johnson out front. It's actually jarring to me at this point that Johnson's not on a Honda because I've just gotten kind of used to it. He was on a Cowie for outdoors last year, so I get it, but he was on on a Yamaha for Supercross and then a Honda for the first part of outdoors, so just not quite used to seeing him on a Cowie just yet, so apologies for the name mix-up here and there. Wilcox is coming, though. I think he has closed this gap down to Jack Gatlin. You know what? Let's give us a top 20 rundown because I haven't done one in a while, but Does Top 20 Rundown is brought to you by R Jerky. Head over to eatrjerky.com. Use the code SYS20, SYS20 for 20% off your order. And buy yourself some high-quality beef jerky. It's great stuff. Definitely would recommend. Logan Leitzel leads here on his Phil's KTM, 24 seconds ahead of his teammate Devin Davis on the number 29 machine. Third is Jack Gatlin, MXS Magazine, GeoGuessr Yamaha. Wow, gotten around Payson Johnson on the 369. Fourth, Thomas Wilcox on the Phil's KTM, Steve Ford Designs 33. Nathan Prynn now up to fifth on his Phil's KTM. And Johnson was just down again in sixth. Going to get passed by Johan Bordeaux. Bordeaux goes to sixth on his motorsport.com 394. Johnson back to seventh on his number one Underground RC Cowie. Eighth is Luke Sullivan, Phil's KTM number 18. Ninth for Braden Tharp on the Phil's KTM number 415. And 10th is Cooper Hunt on the Underground RC, number 38. 11th goes to Alex Kerr on the Jack Daniels Racing, number 84. 12th for Luca Schwartner on the JIBR.co, number 76, as Cade Matherly crashes right next to him. So going through into, what is this, 12th now? Yeah, 13th, excuse me, Lane Wofford on the Underground RC 181. 14th, Alec Horn, mobgraphics.com, number 310. And 15th now, Cade Matherly on the 195 Stance Honda. 16th for Chris Post, Team 2 Dope, 319. 17th for Seth Carr, Underground RC, 347. 18th for Ryan Pinkerton, Yoga Designs, 395. 19th for Casey Cochran on the BPC number 90. And 20th for Trevor Burns on the number 50 Covenant Honda. That's a Top 20 Rundown brought to you by R Jerky. So back to your leader, Logan Leitzel, Devin Davis second, Wilcox third, Phil's 1, 2, 3 once again. Jack Gatlin fourth, and Prynn coming through in fifth. Johnson now slides back to sixth. So in the championship scenario, that is 1 point more gained for Prynn, out to a 10-point advantage in the championship. And really not kind of the turnaround ride we were expected to see out of Johnson off of this suspension. I thought he would be a little bit better in both motos, but he's kind of run into some problems. And it's definitely thwarted his advances. So overall, that actually puts Wilcox back second overall, we believe, 3-3 for second, and Prynn back to third overall with a 2-5 for third. But Wilcox looks like he is still trying to go after his teammate Devin Davis. And then Gatlin still right there as well. It seems like Gatlin might be actually closing back up on Wilcox, or maybe both are catching Devin Davis again. 28-second lead for Leitzel. Coming up to the final 5 minutes plus 2 laps here in this moto. Oh, Davis laying it over, goes down. Wilcox through into second. Gatlin through to third. And there goes Prynn to fourth. Davis trying to get going and will do so before Johnson gets there. So Davis remains in fifth and is now splitting Johnson and Prynn. So that's actually 2 more points gained for Prynn with that one move. So that's another 3 points in this moto, which would be out to a 12-point advantage. But of course, we still have 4.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Davis getting a little wayward in the whoops, and Johnson trying to take advantage to the outside. Not going to work just that yet there, as Davis holds steady. Oh, Johnson. Big one, and a nice save. Would have definitely lost spots to Sullivan, Bordeaux, and maybe even Tharp, and Cooper Hunt as well. Alex Kerr also there. Once again, this track just seems like it's providing, like, close racing. You have some battles, but really just not a lot of separation throughout the field. I guess it's a little different because the leader is quite separated, Logan Leitzel, but rest of the field pretty packed together still, as Wilcox goes to second, Gatlin third, And Prin up to 4th, though. So it seems like Prin going to try to get up into 3rd here. And would basically flip-flop the scores with Wilcox, which means he will end up tied for 2nd overall, but will get 3rd officially. But that is after he gets around Gatlin, of course. He is straight up 3rd overall right now. Needs to pass Gatlin to at least tie for 2nd. So let's see how it plays out in this final 3 minutes and 2 laps of 250 Moto 2. Oh, Gatlin down. Gatlin goes down in the switchbacks. Is that going to cost him another position? Here comes Davis. Not quite. And wow, Johnson now behind Sullivan, so it is coming unglued even more. Luke Sullivan has got around Payson Johnson, and Johan Bordeaux knocking on the door. So Prin up to 3rd, going to get 20 points this moto. Johnson all the way down to 7th as Sullivan makes another mistake, and that's going to be Johnson trying to get back around. Bar to bar. Who's going to get that power down first? Looks like Sullivan actually landed on the knuckle a little bit cleaner. But yeah, with Johnson back to 7th, that's only 14 points for this moto. So losing another 6 points right now would be out to a 15-point advantage for Prin in the championship if it were to stay as is. And with 2 minutes remaining on the clock, it's down to crunch time for Johnson. He cannot continue to afford losing all these positions. He has to start gaining them back and holding them to the end of the moto. He's got Gatlin, Davis, Sullivan right in front of him. So he has got opportunities if he can take them. But of course, easier said than done. Working on Sullivan, got nearly side by side at one point, but wasn't able to make a pass just yet. Meanwhile, up ahead, Prin has caught up to his teammate Wilcox. We'll get to that one in just a second, see how it works out here with Payson Johnson. Just right on the tail feathers of Luke Sullivan. Sullivan's holding steady. Johnson, late charge. Wow, crossing over lines. I don't know how he didn't hit his rear tire. Inside move here. Johnson. Wow, how did Sullivan not get put on the ground right there? But Johnson does hold steady and make that pass. So he's back up to 6. Sullivan's trying to fight back on him. They both kind of scrub it at the top of the hill. Sullivan's got a pretty good drive, actually. Let's see if he turns it into an inside move. Oh, Johnson slides out, and indeed, Sullivan does go back by. That was Gatlin down. So Sullivan up to 5th. Johnson out of 6th. That puts Devin Davis back into 4th. Prin 3rd. And like mentioned, he is caught up to his teammate Wilcox. 33 flat, 33-1. So they're matching lap times, but there's not really much of anything in it between the two. It does seem as though Prin made a couple quick mistakes right there, so Wilcox has stretched it back out. Leitzel looking at a 22-second lead as time has now expired. So 2-lap board about to come out for Logan Leitzel. And hitting the timer pretty much on the dot as well. This is going to be good for him because doesn't have to exert a whole extra lap by beating the timer. He was officially 18 seconds off of hitting the timer square on the money. Uh-oh. Looks like more positions lost for Johnson. Wow, he's even behind Tharp now in 10th. And he's got Devin Davis right behind him, so I wonder if something came to blows there after we switched away from these guys. Coming unglued is the one. Trying to win back-to-back 250 titles on the heels of a 250 West Coast Championship in Supercross this year as well. And moving into the second half of the season, fresh off of a suspension, a round to go. Things are not really playing in his favor, but he does get around Tharp, who just tucked a front end. Side by side are Kerr and Gatlin just ahead of him. Gatlin, another mistake, so Johnson going to push around him. And now he is already working on Kerr for 7th. So at least Johnson, when he makes these mistakes, seems to regroup fairly well, make quick work of riders around him, but he just continues to make too many of these mistakes, whether they're crashes or little slide outs or what have you. Now going to have a chance to close up on Cooper Hunt. Around the outside goes Kerr, and Johnson trying to push the envelope to the outside as well. Going to get the line and go around his teammate. So Hunt and Johnson playing nice with each other. Johnson trying to force to the outside now. Hunt going to pull back alongside and actually has the option of the preferred line up the right-hand side of the hill, but I think Johnson's going to do just enough to stay ahead here, and he wills. Kerr just ahead of him. Sure, he is eyeing up his opportunities. Back to second place, though. Nathan Prynn up to second, and now going to go 2-2 on the day. And aside for his teammate Logan Leitzel snatching away all these points, he's maximized his effort today, has Prynn, after what was arguably the roughest time he's had all year at Millville last week. A 17th in Moto 1, a 4th in the Moto after that, so he's able to take away the points lead with Johnson out. But by the skin of his teeth after a rough first Moto. And yeah, now gaining 44 points on the day, while Johnson continues to struggle a little bit further back. Wilcox is still here, though, as the white flag is waving for our race leader, Logan Leitzel. But Phil's 1, 2, 3 in the first Moto, and it's the exact same cast of characters going 1, 2, 3 right now in the second Moto, potentially for a podium sweep, which would be huge for this team, and obviously huge for Wilcox just joining this team, putting two motos together. We know he can win. A 3-3 will be good for him. But now Luke Sullivan just got around Bordeaux, so it's a Phil's 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is actually a Phil's 1, 2, 3, 4 overall as well, with Sullivan sitting here in fourth because he was fifth in the first Moto. 5-4 will beat whatever Johnson's putting up right now, which I believe is a 4-7. Actually, he's behind Hunt and Davis again, and just ahead of Gatlin. So things still unraveling. Braden Tharp back there trying to also get around Johnson if things get worse again for the defending champ. But remember, his 9 points up heading into this Moto was Nathan Prynn. And right now with Johnson down in 9th, Johnson only gaining 12 points in this Moto while Prynn gains 22. That's another 10-point swing for Prynn's favor. 19-point advantage leaving Washougal when it only entered as 5. So that is not quite the headline we expected to see today. Definitely thought Johnson would have a better return this week, but not quite what he was hoping for, it seems. Still trying to work on Devin Davis, though, for 8th, so trying to limit the damage. Pulled back another point, down to 18-point deficit. Look at that move. Johnson up the inside, going to try to get that power down. Davis going to hug the left side of the track and see if he can't make it work as well, but Johnson, I think, is just a tiny bit better. Oh, dually scrubs, and Davis is able to stay ahead, at least for a moment. It's going to come to blows into this turn. Davis shoves Johnson wide and goes down himself. He was going through the tough blocks, so that would have been an iffy maneuver. But now up to 8th goes Johnson. Meanwhile, a few corners left to go. Talk about a dominating performance. He just caught everybody in the first Moto, went on to win this Moto, waited for his teammate Prynn to make the mistake, and then pulled out a gigantic lead. And he's going to do it here at Washougal. 1-1 performance on the day. Logan Leitzel wins the Washougal National. But the story championship-wise is Prynn extending a 2-2 performance on the day. A second overall on his Phil's KTM. And we'll have to wait and see where Johnson crosses the line officially, but this is going to be a big boost of confidence for Nathan Prynn into this 2-week off break before we go to Unadilla on August 11th. Wilcox going to make it a 1-2-3-4 effort with third on the day, 3-3 scores. Wilcox, third overall for Phil's KTM. And Bordeaux actually got back around Sullivan. So Sullivan, Kerr, gonna spoil the party here. Alex Kerr, gonna go 6-5 to Sullivan's 5-6. and end up 4th overall. So it was going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, but Sullivan tossed it away. Johnson ends up 7th. Hunt was 8th. 9th for Gatland. And Braden Tharp rounds out the top 10. Devin Davis, slides all the way back to 11th by the end of this one. Cade Matherly will be 12th. Seth Carr picking it up there. He'll be 13th, though. Lane Wofford, 14th. Luca Schwerdner here in 15th. 16th for Seth Shirley. 17th for Casey Cochran. Alec Horn here in 18th. Seth Crotty right behind him in 19th. And Noah Carassi running in 20th. So looks like Seth Crotty and Alec Horn may be our closest battle. See if Crotty can get up to Alec Horn on the 310 and make things interesting. Final straightaway. Who gets a better drive? Looks like Horn might actually have it here. Yeah, Crotty didn't quite get it down clean, so going to end up 19th for Crotty and Carassi through the final corner. You're right. Thank you, KR. I forgot Payson gets 2 extra points for that 4th. So yes, Payson 4th overall on the day, but still going to be pretty dejected about that performance. And here come the cuts. Nothing changed. Pretty rare. But Logan Leitzel, the big winner on the day. He is up on the podium, hanging out, literally inside of the podium. Having a good time, as he should. All right, 250 motos are now done. Back in studio, Kellen Brower ready to do battle here again. 450 Moto 2 coming up next. Been a pretty good night of racing so far. And we still have another good one here on the docket. Yeah, as we get ready to drop the gate here, 450 Moto 2. Taxing on the old voice to do all this stuff, huh? Yeah, top 3 overalls in 250 class. Pretty easy. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Leitzel, Prin, and Wilcox. Make it a Phil's KTM sweep. Nicely done. Jack Haley is on a 252 stroke because he wants to be. I think it's really just because he was getting kind of sick of like try-harding the game to win a title. He had his day, I guess. So basically just kind of moved on to, yeah, more or less focusing on, you know, having fun with the game, not trying too hard with it. Yeah, Luke Sullivan coming in says he had a bad day. That's tough go for him. Almost had a 4th overall wrapped up and crashed on the last lap of the race. Cade Matherly also coming in saying he seconds that as well. What is up, Colby Yule? How are you doing, buddy? All right, getting ready to go. Final race of the night, 450 Moto 2. And if it was anything like what we saw in the first Moto, man, we're in for a good one. That was a epic first Moto. If you haven't watched it already, definitely would recommend going back and checking it out. Let's see. Can Luke Magnetti get it done? Looking for his first career overall on the heels of his first career Moto win. Alexis Leclerc was 2nd, Chase Blakely 3rd, Tyler Lang 4th, Colby Eagland 5th, Tyron Tomic 6th, Nick Sellen 7th, Matthias Janis 8th, Jack Haley 9th, and Frank Jackson rounded out the top 10 in that one. Yeah, baby's good. Baby's sleeping, which is always a good thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one final race tonight. It's time to get hyped. who is going to come out on top. Tyler Lang chilling in the first turn. Caleb Hall, Joseph Pilsner. Chase Blakely was pretty good. Andonias Kura, he's here tonight as well. Adam Holm trying to have a turnaround second moto. 18th in the first one, getting together with Isaiah Dickerson. Sounds like Dickerson may be done for the year. Everybody's favorite dude, Bob Joe. He's also here on a stock Honda. Awood, Matherly's good luck charm. Yeah, no Awood tonight. He will be back for Unadilla in 3 weeks' time, though. Ooh, Frank Jackson tossing filth. All right, here we go. Final race of the night coming up. Let's make sure I get the labels correct. Turn off the moto timer. We'll turn it back on in a second. All right, who's going to get the all-important hole shot in this one? Shall we take a look at Leclerc, because didn't quite get the start in the first one, but we know he's good at it if he can get it in to the first corner first. All right, there we go. We are loaded in. Leclerc is ready to go. He's getting hyped up. And we are ready to drop the gate for the final time tonight here at Washougal. Let's go racing one more time in the Pacific Northwest. Not the best jump for Leclerc. Tomic is going to out-drag him into the first corner. Tomic, Carter battling it out. Tyron Tomic, Studio 8 Hole Shot Award on the 41. Good starts both times tonight. Ends up alongside Carter. Leclerc actually came out pretty good right there with Magnetti. Magnetti's got a good start. 130 of Janice up along the left side. Tyler Lang continues to not get great starts. Launching over the top of the hill. Carter goes down, and Tomic takes over the race lead. Man, everybody's pretty stacked together, actually. Janice got Magnetti, got Leclerc right in tow. You got Cohenauer with a good start this time. Frank Jackson, Eagland, Lang actually is up here. Down the left side, coming down the hill. The 11 of Hubbard's got a good start. Magnetti, I think he maybe just laid it over at the bottom of the U-turn, but picked it right up and is still ahead of Leclerc. So off the top of the hill they go. Leclerc funnels in behind Luke Magnetti, Moto 1 winner, but out front, Tyron Tomic right out of Australia leads. Janice is right there as well. He was up front most of the first moto. Ended up right in the mix as well. Eagland. You got Frank Jackson with a good start. Jeremy Cohenauer getting swapped out. It looks like maybe Lang has lost a few positions. Not sure how many spots he's lost. Actually, may have lost several positions. Adam Holm is suddenly in the mix there. I don't see Lang's name on the leaderboards anymore. So has Lang shot himself in the foot again early with another early first lap mistake? Let's just go back and see. Yeah, I don't see Tyler Lang at all. Where is he? Good grief, he's down again. Tyler Lang goes down at the top of the hill. The 178 of Lawson Dye down with Tyler Lang. And that is going to put Lang down in 37th, 38th maybe? Once again, Tyler Lang is going to come from almost dead last, even though he was right near the sharp end of the field early on. So something has got to change with Lang in the early stages of this race. He has got to figure out the first couple laps and not get involved in the melees. But Tomic leads 3 seconds already on Leclerc. And remember, Tyron Tomic, he was 6th in Moto 1. He passed Leclerc a couple times. His speed has been pretty strong all night long here. And this is kind of rarefied air for him. I can't remember the last time he hole shot and had an opportunity to lead like this. So let's see what he does with it. Early stages, of course. There's a lot of racing still left to go here at Washougal. Leclerc is already up in a second. Then Eagland, Magnetti, Frank Jackson, and Hubbard, with Blakely and Daniel Mills right behind, and Adam Holm. Much better start this time. Matthias Janis now brings up the caboose of this front group. Going to be fun to decipher the overalls as time continues to go on in this moto. Leclerc, I think, with a 2-2 at least for right now, has it. You'd have to have Magnetti get back around Eagland to see it switch hands for the 1-3. And how long can Tomic hold on out front as well? Down to 2 seconds. Leclerc is kind of inching up to him a little bit. Eagland also right there. Magnetti, Jackson, Hubbard, Blakely, Mills, Holm, Janis. Any one of these guys I feel like has a shot. As the lead group is starting to pull away. Change for the lead. Leclerc to the front. So we just asked the question, how long does Tomic hold on? And there's the answer. OJ'd into the sand and down. Drops behind Hubbard, but ahead of Blakely, so I think that's 7th. Or maybe 6th, actually. Yeah, 6th, excuse me. But I'll tell you what, just like we saw in the first moto, once Leclerc gets into the lead, it's normally a situation where Leclerc is just gone. But tonight has been a little bit weird. Leclerc doesn't seem like he's been the same normal Leclerc that we've seen, and even though he's in the race lead, it doesn't seem as though Colby Eagland is going to let him go. Wow, so 37 riders started this race, which means at one point Lang was in dead last on the first lap of the race. So for the second moto in a row, he is going to have to come from way far back in an attempt to salvage any points that he possibly can against Leclerc. In that first moto alone, he lost 4 more points. He'd entered 9 down, so it'd be out to 13 points. Obviously, right now, Lang is not in the points just yet. And with Leclerc leading, that's a 25-point swing in the championship, which is pretty much a nail in the coffin for most people. So we are going to have to keep close tabs on how much Lang can muster up. Eagland losing a little bit of touch with Leclerc. Magnetti settles in a little further back. Frank Jackson, Tomic, Blakely, Hubbard, and Holm. Let's go on board with Holm because this is a pretty good battle ahead of him. 4 riders pretty much nose to tail. He's got a couple riders still right behind him, does Adam Holm. Outside to in option for Holm doesn't quite work, and man, turned on a dime and left a nickel change right there. Hopped in and right out of the rut. Stays in 8th, but lost a little bit of ground there to Hubbard. Meanwhile, Hubbard scrubbing hard, closes up to Blakely, and then Frank Jackson just up the road. And I think that's Tomic as well, up in 4th. Blakely trying to get a nose on Jackson, but not quite able to do so just yet. And a lot of credit to Frank Jackson, who has moved up to the 450 class this week and has immediately ran the pace with these guys. Hubbard getting kicked all around coming through the whoop section before the finish line jump, but you can still see this is pretty much your closest battle, at least in terms of points paying positions at the moment. 3 riders pretty much nose to tail. Tomic not too far ahead of them, but Leclerc continues to lead from Eagland, and then Magnetti up into 3rd, which of course Leclerc would take the overall with a 2-1, but Magnetti is still on the hunt, on the prowl. Doesn't want to let this one go too easily. Not too often you win a first moto and have a good start sitting on your lap in the second one, and still might not be able to take home the overall win. So Magnetti is going to push the limit, try to do what he can to keep things interesting. Always cool to see how onboard perspectives are, though, and what these guys are kind of seeing in the heat of a battle. Hubbard dealing with pressure from Holm again. Yeah, I dig the monkey racing setup. I think I said it earlier in the broadcast, but I like seeing more Suzukis out there. I just like seeing an array of manufacturers used in this game, so it's cool to see another set of yellow bikes on the track. Blakely going to push it to the outside to try to get Jackson. Still, Frank Jackson holding steady. He has been the dam that refuses to burst. Likely going to try an inside line here in the back section, but not able to get something done just yet. Tomic is still just a hair ahead of these guys, and I think that's what Blakely is keeping his eyes on. I think he wants to try to get around Jackson so he can go after Tomic, but Jackson's been awfully difficult to make a pass on. He has been very feisty in that position. So there's Leclerc, Eaglin, Tomic, Jackson, Blakely, Holm, Hubbard, and then Magnetti. So Magnetti went down out of third. And now settles in behind Hubbard. So things have come unglued a little bit for the 30. Matthias Janis also there. Nick Sellen, he's got another good start. So the top 10... pretty much a group of riders that we saw in the first moto. Hubbard is kind of the lone fresh face up here. I guess Adam Holm is as well, but Frank Jackson, Chase Blakely, Tyron Tomic, Eaglin, Leclerc, they're all up here. So we're waiting on Lang, who is up to 17th, to kind of make some more inroads towards the front. And the last thing Lang wants to see is this man sprinting away with the potential of another overall win on the table. And he looks pretty smooth and in control out front. So a little bit there, it seemed like Eaglin was maybe going to put the pressure on Leclerc, but Leclerc has basically just slowly spread it out ever so slightly, lap after lap, to the point now where gap is opening up enough that Leclerc can maybe even push it just a little bit more for the next 3 or 4 laps, get it out to 10 seconds, and not have to think about the potential of a fall-off crash costing him the race lead. Tyron Tomic launches out to flat. Chase Blakely, Frank Jackson, Adam Holm, and Jacob Hubbard. Brody, are you asking why we don't have press conferences with these riders after the race? Or are you asking about real life? Man, everybody is still very tightly knit here inside of the top 10. All right, we got a request for a quick onboard lap with Leclerc. So he just did a 2:26.5. I think that's a pretty good indication. Yeah, for those of you asking about anything to do with the post-race interviews, press conferences, whatever, we've done a couple with some people after the races in the past. Usually after a championship is won or something along those lines. We interviewed Braden Carter right after his title. But the problem I've always had with it, and it's happened before, I've had to answer to some criticism and some, you know, YouTube trying to take videos down and stuff like that, because you get these people that have never ever before been live broadcast or whatever, and their vernacular is probably not very suitable for all audiences, if you will. So we've had some people put, you know, say some not very good things on broadcast before, and I've had to answer to those questions essentially, and I don't want to be the person in charge of dealing with that. I know there's a lot of good people in this community, and I know there's not a lot of people that would do that, but I also know that there are some people that would, and I don't want to trust everybody for the one person that is going to basically ruined my trust with that whole situation. So unfortunately, the situations where we do post-race interviews more or less come down to I ask beforehand the person that I'm going to interview, which in this case, before the Supercross title was won, was Leclerc or Carter. I said, can either one of you after the race at least come in, talk about the title for a little bit, and please don't say anything that's going to get me banned on YouTube. It's not even bad words. You guys know the words I'm talking about that are going to be really, detrimental. And some people, unfortunately, just use those words in regular conversation. And this isn't pro motocross. This isn't the NBA. This isn't a situation where like all these guys, if they say them on an MX Simulator broadcast, are going to be like scorned for life because they say some of these things. It's not that big of a deal. But for me, I don't want my channel that's 88,000 subs to be deactivated because someone wants to make a racist remark or something like that because I asked a question after the race. So it just comes down to trying to more or less protect myself a little bit, unfortunately. Back to the action, though. Let's get us a top 20 rundown real quick. This one, again, will be brought to you by R Jerky because we only gave him love one time tonight. R Jerky, eatrjerky.com. Head over to eatrjerky.com. Use the code SYS20, SYS20 for 20% off your order on some very high-quality beef jerky. Good stuff. Many flavors. I would definitely recommend trying the Western smoked version, but there's also teriyaki and sizzling hot if you guys want some of those. So yeah, please head over there, use that code, get a good discount, and have some just really good beef jerky. Honestly, it's good stuff. So yeah, they bring you this top 20 rundown by R Jerky. Alexis Leclerc, Rockstar Energy, Husqvarna Factory Racing leads on his #1 machine here at Washougal in Moto 2, looking for the overall today with the 2-1 scores. Colby Eaglin, the Covenant #24 machine, sits in second. It's third for Tyron Tomic on the CV Gas. Actually, he's going to drop back to fourth, maybe fifth. Chase Blakely goes by for third on his BPC Yamaha #21. And Tomic does remount in fourth. Adam Holm is in fifth on the atom.com #17. Luke Magnetti is sixth, Moto 1 winner on the #30 BPC Yamaha. Matthias Janis in seventh on his Underground RC #130. Eighth for Jacob Hubbard on the Phil's KTM #11. Ninth is Nick Sellen. No, it's not. It's Frank Jackson on the Team Nami #47. And 10th is Nick Sellen on the JIBR.co #412, actually, but using the #16. 11 for Daniel Mills on the Jack Daniels Racing #15. 12th for Andonias Cura on the Impact #240. And 13th now for Tyler Lang on the Underground RC #14. 14th for Kyle Carpenter on the Tiger Designs #39. 15th for Dylan Copeland on the Tiger Designs #38. 16th for Braden Carter on the Phil's KTM #19. 17th for Joseph Pilsner on the #48 mobgraphics.com. Is that Gas? And then 18th for Colton Mitchell on the Monkey Racing #6. 19th for Reed Young on the #37 Tegrity Kawasaki. And 20th for Caleb Hall on the Underground RC #561. That's the top 20 rundown brought to you by Underground RC. Looks like Lang got around Andonias Cura, which, by the way, is such a rad name. Like, he's from France, but just how rad of a name is Andonias Cura. Sounds Italian, even though it's a Frenchman. Close battle here between Hubbard, Jackson, and Nick Sellen. Hubbard trying to go around the outside of Jackson, not quite able to get a nose in there just yet. And now Hubbard does make that pass stick as Nick Sellen gets a little out of shape at the bottom of Horsepower Hill. Matthias Janis working on Luke Magnetti. This is a battle for 6th place right now. Janis has been pretty strong all day long. He's probably kicking himself. He likely feels like he tossed away a moto win in the first moto. He ended up 8th in the moto, but obviously the top 8 were separated by almost nothing. And Janis had the lead by a pretty good margin, at least, in the middle stages of the race, and then crashed going up Horsepower Hill. That relinquished it over to Luke Magnetti, who somehow survived all of the advances from Leclerc and Nick Sellen at one point as well. And then you had Tyron Tomic also get into the mix, and Magnetti survived for his first career 450 moto win. So these two opposite ends of the spectrum in the first moto, because Magnetti was the beneficiary of Matthias Janis going down on Horsepower Hill to take over the race lead. Janis kicking himself because he thought maybe he could win that moto. Now they're both battling for 6th, and we'll have to see how it shakes out. But man, might Magnetti not even end up on the box today? That'd be rough. I think he still's got it though with a 1-6. Tyron Tomic up here in 5th. Adam Holm has made his way up into 4th, right behind Chase Blakely in 3rd. It's Colby Eaglin still in 2nd, and Leclerc leading. So this one is certainly not as interesting as the first one, as Holm just went down. That is Tomic going through. And there goes Magnetti. Here comes Matthias Janis. So Magnetti up to 5th. Oh, that is Tomic down through the first corner complex. So Tyron Tomic coming unglued a little bit here. And that's going to allow Nick Sellen and Frank Jackson to close up a little bit. How far off is Lang from all of this? He is up to 11th, and can get up to 4th maybe? Meanwhile, oh, Eaglin just got together with Leclerc in the lead. I saw 2 dots coming together on the map, and Leclerc was finally caught for a moment by Eaglin. And then, not sure if there was cross-jumping or what happened there, but Eaglin suddenly was upside down on camera, coming into your living room, essentially. And Leclerc now back out front. 8.7 seconds in the lead. Definitely has dropped quite a bit from what it was. That's going to be interesting to see if Leclerc has another mistake then, and whether or not Eaglin could take advantage of that. Meanwhile, Holm working back up to Magnetti. Number 17, Atom.com Kawasaki has been through the ringer today, dealing with all kinds of problems with Isaiah Dickerson in the first moto and well outside of the points, and eventually got up into 18th by the end of it all. So good, somewhat of a salvage there to get any points on what was pretty much a bad deal in the first moto. Now working on Magnetti here for 5th place. And just behind, wow, actually going down was Matthias Janis. So going through Nick Sellen, Tomic, and Jackson. And here comes Hubbard with Lang still lurking in the background. Now Tomic gets sideways, Jackson goes by. Here comes Janis. Janis getting stood up on the tough blocks on the outside. Tomic closes up to Frank Jackson. Oh, nice move. That was a mistake that Jackson kind of pushed it into the corner and went over the rut, and Tomic just swung it in there, made the pass, and now it gets a little wayward, so kind of holds up the group. And here comes Janis. Janet's going to get a good drive up horsepower hill as these two try to drag race each other a little bit slower than usual. And at least for the time being, Tomic has made that pass stick. Magnetti gotten away from home a little bit. Blakely, Eagland, and then Leclerc. So Leclerc has seemingly settled down from whatever he was doing, 241.6. So he must have had a fall-off crash on top of whatever it was that he got together with Eagland with, because that's, I mean, you're looking at basically 15 seconds off of his best lap, and, you know, must have been something beyond the contact, I would assume. And the gap is coming down. I feel like Eagland, wonder if he's frustrated with the contact. Felt like Leclerc maybe didn't race him fair, and that's kind of ignited him a little bit, because it seems like he is up the intensity into the second half of this race, when the first half he just kind of was maybe minding it a little bit more and not pushing the envelope because he didn't want to crash, but now sending caution to the wind more or less. And that's what you need to do to beat Alexis Leclerc, especially when he's on it like he is today. Now under 7 seconds, 29.7 for Eagland last time by, 32 flat, so there you go. Almost, 2.5 seconds gained right there, basically, for Eagland in one lap alone. Seems like Leclerc has maybe realized that Eagland was closing a little bit and has started to respond, but then Eagland just got a terrific drive up horsepower hill. Literally OJ'd to flat off the top because it was so good. Oh, Leclerc's down! And yes, he is off the bike on the inside of the track through that corner. That's going to put Eagland to the front as Leclerc gets going with Blakely alongside of him. And Blakely trying to shut the door. Leclerc forces the issue down the inside and holds it. And here we go. This is going to be interesting. Blakely third in the first moto. Hometown race. And might have a shot at winning this overall. So now Eagland leads from Leclerc and Blakely. Eagland was fifth in the first moto, so at least among these two, not exactly a direct factor just yet for the overall. Actually, if Blakely can get into second and Leclerc back to third, I think Eagland's 5-1 wins then, right? 3-2 to 2-3 versus a 5-1, you get one extra point. But I guess you would lose that 1 point as well. Quick maths. That's 39 points if he would win this moto. Leclerc with a 2-3 would get 42 points. So yeah, never mind, my math is wrong. No, 41 points. So yeah, 1 point off. But yeah, this is the battle for the overall basically between Blakely and Leclerc. And Eagland sitting on 41 points now with Leclerc on 44 and Blakely on 40. So the top three are basically right on top of each other here. And then, yeah, okay, so Magnetti, we also have to factor him in because he's in fourth. So if Leclerc and Blakely swap places, that is Magnetti overall. And Eagland just made a little mistake. Here comes Leclerc up the right side of the track. Eagland jumps across to defend. Nicely done in the end there, and our top three are nose to tail here. This could end in tears, perhaps. Oh, Leclerc with a scrub and a half to get to the inside of Eagland. How does Eagland respond? He's gonna try to fight back around the outside, turns to the inside in this corner, and Leclerc holds firm. Around the outside, though, comes Blakely into second place, and he's got a pretty good line and drive up the right side, or the left side of the hill, right side of your screen. Blakely trying to go to the lead here at home in Washougal. Not quite going to get it yet. Leclerc holds firm. But now Leclerc is in the overall win again with a 2-1. Blakely sitting on 3-2. But of course, Whoever beats whom in this moto wins the overall, and that is what we're looking at now. Blakely getting blocked a little bit by Austin Bear. Can't blame him. He was trying to get out of the main line, and it happened to end up in the line Blakely was going to. That allows Eagland back into the fray a little bit. Leclerc kind of throwing it into the corner. And Magnetti hoping these two come together, because that would obviously allow Eagland back through to the lead. And with Magnetti in 4th place, he wants to win this overall. Nothing he can do. 22 seconds down, I should say. And he just has to have his fingers crossed that things get wild out front as Chase Blakely slides the rear end through the corner. And we're going to have a repeat of Moto 1 where these guys are just going to miss the clock and have to do a whole extra lap before they get the 2-lap board. We are down to, 44 seconds left on the clock, as you guys see, so they're just going to beat the timer here by about 30 some odd seconds, which I think is what they would have beat it by, but there's so much jockeying for position in the first one. So here we go. Coming down through the whoop section, Leclerc sideways. Blakely, a great drive along the inside through the rollers, and he gets into Leclerc. They're both down. They're both off the side of the track. Eagland goes through into the race lead. Who gets up first? That determines whether Leclerc or Magnetti wins the overall. Who beats who in this battle? Leclerc gets up. He's going to run it deep on Blakely. Blakely up the inside, blocks Leclerc back, then comes back onto the track. Leclerc gets back through. Oh my goodness, drama here at Washougal. And Eagland back to the front. And of course, that actually closes Magnetti back in a little bit closer. He's now 12 seconds behind these guys. I am going to assume Blakely feels, and I could be wrong, but I think Blakely feels that Leclerc cross-jumped him in the whoops. Blakely had the line. Leclerc just gently started coming over, then came over a little harder on the last jump. And they both ended up flipping off the track. That is not going to sit well with the 21. You could see he pretty aggressively went back after Leclerc in that very next corner. Leclerc read it to a T, though, and did not allow Blakely to put him on the deck. So now Blakely, if he wants retaliation, needs to do it in a hurry. Meanwhile, Magnetti is falling down the order. Nick Sell and Holm have gone by, and Lang through as well. Lang is up to 5th now, and just like we saw in the first moto, Lang coming from ridiculously far back is somehow going to salvage a good result out of this. And he's going to try to reel in Holm for 4th next. Pretty impossible to assume he gets to Blakely or Leclerc. Man, things are switching around in a hurry, though. And for Lang's sake, obviously he would probably be hoping in this case that Leclerc loses yet another position to Blakely. But then that still would give, so that would give Blakely the overall. So Blakely v. Leclerc is a battle for the overall right now. Yeah, because the only other player that could come into the fray here then would be Magnetti, but he would have to get up to Holm again for 4th if Blakely were to get Leclerc again. So, 2-lap board about to come out. Colby Eagland is leading this race. He was 5th in the first moto, so at the moment, he is not a factor for the overall. Blakely and Leclerc need to settle it amongst each other. Blakely has been really good through these whoops. And, of course, 39.6, 37.9. These two literally crashed going side by side over the finish line jump last time by. But Blakely, I have to imagine, is trying to up the pace as much as he possibly can to get to Leclerc. Because this is an overall hanging in the balance, and it appears at least that there is some frustration coming from Blakely on the maneuver that Leclerc put in on him at the finish line jump. And is that Eagland? No, excuse me. Oh, Leclerc! What? No, excuse me? Leclerc just tire tapped a lapped rider and stayed up. What is... That's hacks. What? I've never seen anybody ride off of a lapped rider, or any rider for that matter, and just kind of like tap off of him and keep going. Leclerc fully his contact file and what? The fact that Leclerc is still on 2 wheels right now is beyond me. That was insane. And that is not Eaglin down. Keeps confusing me seeing these red riders down. But now Blakely is probably wondering why Leclerc is on 2 wheels as well, I guess. I mean, he suddenly has backed off a little bit from Leclerc. I am still mind blown myself. How in the world, I mean, I guess in a way, kudos to Leclerc for somehow tire tapping a rider and just kind of like boinging off of them to the right side of the track and riding it out. But yeah, you guys in chat saying French lag, that's absolutely part of it. He probably didn't see that rider the same way we did, but he still obviously was affected by it because it like bounced him. He didn't just like hit him. He actually bounced off of him and like hopped from where he was going to land to like the outside rut. So interesting change in dynamics, but that is pretty much firmly left Leclerc in a position to win this overall. As Colby Eaglin's going to bring it down here and pick up the white flag. So 1 lap to go. Colby Eagland is going to potentially win this moto. And, oh, here we go, actually. Blakely's not done yet. Sending it into the rollers off the side of the track. He is pinned off the side of the track. Doesn't care if he gets cuts at this point. I think all he cares about is getting a little bit closer to Leclerc, because I think he's going to put him on the ground. I could be dead wrong, but you don't make that kind of move that Blakely tried to on Leclerc after the finish line jump unless you're trying to, at minimum, make contact. So let's see. Blakely is definitely pushing, and it's costing him a little bit. It seems like Leclerc has stretched it back out again. Blakely is pretty good through the back half of the track, but Leclerc really good through these first couple of sections, and that is where he is gaining all of his time so that Blakely doesn't have a response. Meanwhile, Adam Holm is 4th. Magnetti is back up into 5th. Lang 6th. Tomic 7th. Nick Sellen runs 8th. Frank Jackson 9th. And Matthias Janis in 10th. But the eyes are on these two trying to decide the overall wins. And in typical Chase Blakely fashion, he might win this overall without winning a moto, which he has done before. He's gone 2-2 for an overall win before. And today would be a different version of that. It might be a 3-2, but 3-3 isn't going to get it done. It's a 2-2 out of Leclerc. He needs more. Needs a mistake. Needs something extra out of Leclerc, who in his own right is catching Eagland. So Leclerc is not out of the waters just yet to maybe catch Colby Eagland for the overall win. And oh boy, that would be something. Oh, Blakely kicks sideways in the background, but he stays up. And Leclerc is still pushing like he wants to get Eagland, which is not necessary, but he's not letting him go. Oh, Leclerc hopping in and skipping into the corner. That could have been the moment right there. Front tire kick, weird moments, something like that. Couple corners still to go, though, for Leclerc. Pushing the pace. Doesn't need it, but he just so desperately wants it. Meanwhile, Eagland's going to come into the final corner, and Leclerc is still there. Straightaway left. Colby Eagland's going to bring it down to the flag, and Colby Eagland takes the win in 450 Moto 2 at Washougal. But Alexis Leclerc wins the overall on the day. 2-2 performance. Chase Blakely will end up in 3rd in this one, and I would assume is not going to be thrilled with Leclerc's antics through the roller section there. Luke Magnetti, heartbreaker this one will be. 1-4 performance. Of course, it's a fantastic day at the races, but he will miss out on the overall by 1 point. Barring cuts, I guess. If Leclerc loses this one on cuts to Blakely, then Magnetti is your overall winner. Holm was 5th, Lang 6th, Tomic 7th, Nick Sellen crosses the line 8th, Frank Jackson coming down, going to get 9th, and Matthias Janis dealing with Jacob Hubbard into the final turn. Oh, Hubbard down, so Janis most certainly at this point should get 10th. Kyle Carpenter jumps in, he should be 11th. and Jacob Hubbard behind them in 12th. Then it's Andonias Cura here in 13th. So 13-13, consistent day for the Frenchman. Colton Mitchell 14th. He was 11th in the first moto. 15th for Braden Carter in this one. He was 14th in the first moto. Dylan Copeland coming down here in 16th. Old D-Cope did not score in the first moto, so 16 going to be his only points on the day. Joseph Pilsner coming through here in 17th. He was 17th in the first moto. Consistency. Daniel Mills here in 18th, 12th in the first moto. And Reed Young coming down should be 19th here. Yes, he is. And Reed Young was 21st in the first moto, so hey, going to get some points. Battle for the final points paying position. Castaneda trying to steal it away from Caleb Hall. Caleb Hall was 19th in the first moto. Castaneda was 16th. And there's 1 point left on the table here at Washougal. Who is going to get it? Or are they maybe going to get 19th? Oh, contact. Castaneda will get 19th and Hall gets 20th. Hubbard never finished? Did Hubbard disconnect before he finished? Jacob Hubbard disconnected from this moto before he finished this race. That's stupid though. He's floating in the air. How did he not finish? Look at where he's floating. But he's being passed by all these guys. So maybe my game is malfunctioned courtesy of Hubbard's whatever that is. That's interesting. So we're going to wait for cuts to come in to make this official, but Eagland with 5-1 scores on the day. And Magnetti also up in there. Let's take a look. Yeah, nothing changed. All right, so let's talk about points really quick. So Lang goes 4-6 on the day, so he's going to pick up 18 and 15 points, so that's 33. 18 and 15, yeah, 33 points for Lang. And Leclerc goes 2-2 for 44 points on the day, so 33 to 44. That's an 11-point advantage now Leclerc has gained on Tyler Lang. It was 9 points over Lang entering. It's now 20 points over Lang exiting as Leclerc wins the overall here at Washougal. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is going to do it for us here tonight at Washougal, round 7 of the 2021 RaceFactory Gaming National Championship in MX Simulator. And hey, we have got a long break ahead of us. Loretta Lynn's is going to fill the void in the Pro Motocross schedule in the next 2 weeks, which means the next 2 weeks there is no racing, there is no GPs, there is no nationals. And actually, when the GPs come back on August 9th, I will not be here to stream it, unfortunately. So we'll try to come up with a day to make that up. But the next time you guys will see us is August 11th for the Unadilla National. So thank you guys again for tuning in so much through the first half of the season at this point. And we'll be back after this 2-week hiatus with more action at Unadilla on August 11th. Thanks to atom.com and thanks to R Jerky for coming on board the broadcast this year. And thanks, of course, to all you guys that tune in every single week and have a good time with us here in the chat room. So thanks so much again for watching round 7 of the 2021 RaceFactory Gaming National Championship from Washougal. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks at Unadilla. Bye-bye for now.